Order! Order in the People's Court on the 4th of Frimaire at approximately 8 hours and the 75th minute of the current and genuine system of time. We are here to try, as an enemy of the people, the book Comrades, the revolutionary RPG. I am the tribunal and head of this particular administration, Adam.
Hi, how you doing? I'm a Spanish Civil War historian, Big Franco. I'm here because I'm horribly sick and I can't play my Cool Gundam card game. I wanted to play a white-blue deck tonight.
And I am your member of the Revolutionary Compnor, ImpCit, and yes, we are talking about Comrades, a revolutionary RPG by W.M. Akers.
It is one of the first books that I got my hands on for Dice Scum. I never got around to getting to talk about this until, well, a coin flip. A genuine coin flip decided this one because someone decided to let the world burn and result in this tying with the other option. So let's show off the front cover. It's a very simple fist, which is very commonly used in most forms of social propaganda.
Now, my question is, why did you decide to make it Simpsons colored?
You don't know? Homer Simpson is the pure example of the working man.
I'm having this idea of Homer having to run the Revolutionary Vanguard.
He's the new Springfield man. So it's a personal passion project by just W.M. Akers. And it opens with two quotes. Revolution devours its children mercilessly, by Alexander Herzen, who is the father of Russian socialism. He is one of the foundational writers of the Narodniki movement, as well as anarchist concepts in general. A big admirer of the revolutionary period of France, particularly the Republic. He was not a Napoleon fan, except maybe some of the civil code that he came up with. So yeah, he's a big fanboy of the National Razor. And Danton, who was probably the most sane of the revolutionaries of the Robespierre period. He was killed for being that guy, and he was also probably the most corrupt of the revolutionaries.
I think it just really came down to is all the peasants just wanted to see people die. Horrible, blood-crazed bastards.
You're not wrong. I don't know how to pronounce it in French, but they're called the non-breeches. That's the term for the lowest class. The non-breeches, sans-culottes, tended to be some of the most violent of the lot. Also, another
You were
fun
talking
fact about
about
Danton, he is responsible for the September massacres because he incited the crowds to riot and murder.
Just like a proper revolutionary.
we were talking about how much stuff I know about the revolution, before the stream. And one of the interesting little tidbits I forgot about was the cult of the supreme being and just how fucking weird that whole thing was.
It's even weirder than that, Biggs, because here's the thing. The cult of the supreme being was Robespierre's replacement for another cult. There were actually several cults that were designed to remove Christianity from
God.
France. The most interesting one being the Order of Reason, which ties a little bit into Mage, but legitimately they tried to make a non-denominational, non-Christian, just a temple to the human will. And they actually converted a lot of the older temples into that, including Notre Dame. Notre Dame was once a temple of reason.
So you're telling me they tried to make the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster to own the fundies, is what you're telling me.
By the way, one of the decisions that was made by, I believe the main guy behind it was Fauch. Fauch actually believed that every gravestone should have the embellishment, "They now lie in the eternal sleep."
They really wanted to get rid of Christianity.
Yeah, the Montagnards were pretty fucking insane. By the way, hello there, everyone. Hello there, NDR, Metric Steel, and Angel Arroyo, as well as Percival. Hi there. And hello there, Ossel.
So this is, as we've known it, powered by the Apocalypse game,
Which is unfortunate.
It's standard for how we view it. So the main thing that we're focusing on is its actual focus on trying to be a revolutionary simulator, and also how you can really pervert that from what the author intended it to be.
It's similar to how, for those of you who really like Vampire the Requiem, the many iterations you can do of the Carthian movement, because the Carthian movement is very much played like the Anarchs, where they're vaguely social Marxist garbage. But the entire point of the Carthian movement is a change of the status quo among vampire kind. They don't always
A,
have to be anarchist.
a political radicalism, and the thing is, despite modern parlance of using radicalism as more like a left concept, it's essentially extremism. And there's always been points in history where we've seen both left and right extremism. Most famously, I would say, is the 1920s in Europe, having
Well,
a
it's not
slew
just the
of both.
1920s. One of the best examples is actually the 1848 revolutions and the revolutions of the 1790s. I mean, yes, those were more admittedly liberal revolutions, the desire for independence and free individuality and freedom, away from the authoritarianism of the monarchs and the old state. But that's the thing. Revolutions can occur from all sources, which is why what's going to happen by the end of this is we're going to point out that for all that the ideology is reactionary in a lot of ways because it seeks to undo, there's a reason that the man who came up with it, the little Austrian man who cooked up with it, proclaimed himself, if I am a revolutionary, then I am a revolutionary for reaction itself.
I would also like to take it on the minute to honor the greatest revolutionary state that will no doubt not be covered in this book, and that is the Confederacy, the States of America, and how I believe in its ideology, and we are a pro CSA stream.
We're not. We're
No.
definitely not. Union for life.
Yeah, kind of writing because of the potential that a president will end slavery, not because he did anything, but the fear that he might is one of the most stupidest reasons for revolution I've ever thought of.
In fairness, they actually did have as a policy in the 1856 election to get rid of it, like hardcore.
The
Like not even
Razorfist
4
told
years
me
prior.
Razorfist told me Abraham Lincoln was literally Satan. So
You want to
I
know
don't
what one of
know.
the other funny things about the Republican platform was back then? Total Mormon death. A final solution to the Latter-day Saints problem.
Well, from an age, yeah, there was like I remember. Oh god, I forgot it was like the massacre something where like Mormons just like massacred like a whole like caravan that was going to like Oregon or California.
Oh, they did
But
that,
it
yeah.
just kind of shrugged.
They also because of their polygamy, they got into a lot of trouble with that sort of stuff.
How about this for an alternate universe? The Mormons join up with the CSA.
I don't think there were enough.
There were enough, but they decided to avoid that mainly just because they kind of thought that if they lost, they'd get purged completely.
Yeah, but
You
imagine
know
how
who did
funny that
though?
would be.
No. You know what's really funny though is that 2/3 of the Cherokee sided with the Confederates.
Oh,
Yeah, the
I
Kiowa
believe they owned
Society fought
slaves.
for the Union, but the Cherokee as a whole owned slaves. Several of the tribes in Indian Territory specifically joined.
Because I believe they owned slaves.
No, they didn't believe they had slaves. They several. I believe one of them actually even got commissioned as a brigadier general in the Confederates. I mean, admittedly, it was in the Western theater, so there wasn't really much they could do, but still.
Yeah.
So when did the
But
left forget how to fight? What happened to the militant left? They're too busy sobbing on X and crashing out.
also, they got arrested by the FBI.
In fairness, so did the right wing to a lesser degree at that period of time.
Yeah, but that kind of puts a cap in your militancy when they're all in jail.
They're also getting fucked in the ass too. They're
There's a
on
bit of
Discord
that.
spreading their ass.
I would also argue that the insistence on gun control is also something that really calls the concept of militancy. Because if you don't have guns, well, you can't do the polite armed society gimmick. You can't just water the tree of, instead of liberty, water the tree of equality and equity with the blood of the tyrant. Where are the students dreaming of going into battle with a textbook in one hand and machine gun in the other? Well, first off, they're too poor to afford a machine gun. Second off, they're too busy screaming about the fact that the landlord just hiked up their rents. And third off, they're too busy being broke and miserable to want to murder things.
And fourth off, none of them are going to join up with the imperialist fascist military service.
That too. Which means they don't get training, which culminates in some very funny things when you don't have training.
Don't worry, they'll just, join a black bloc organization and go out, and beat up elderly people in the streets.
Yeah, they have to beat
Tag it
them
as
up at like 10-on-1, and even then they sometimes lose.
the Obama era judges really like it when they kill old people.
Well, yeah, I mean, why do you think they tried to downplay that what is it? The previous New York governor had a death rate higher than what happened on 9/11 among the old folk communities when COVID came out.
Cuomo.
Thank you, Cuomo. Very cool.
No,
Where
not
are
the
the
mayor,
soldiers
the governor.
What now?
Eric Adams wasn't killing thousands of old people. That was the former governor.
Correct.
The guy who said, "I'm not retarded. I'm just Italian."
I mean, Eric Adams also isn't he at least partially? No, that was De Blasio. That was De Blasio, who, by the way, isn't even Italian. He's a German LARPing as an Italian. Where were we? Oh yeah, where were the soldiers radicalizing the army from the trenches?
They're
That
perp.
died after Vietnam, where you spat on them. Hey, remember when you had a left wing version of Joe Rogan? His name was Joe Rogan, and then you kicked him out. You kind of did that with
No,
the military.
well, no, it reminds me of also that one guy at West Point who had like a hammer and sickle insignia inside of his cap and get investigated and then kicked out of the military.
I mean, there's also a bit of that because of the whole 50s paranoia. You don't really want your military to potentially serve as a fifth column. Where are the union organizers waging war against the bosses, the strikebreakers, and the police for their right to an honest wage? Well, first off, they're too busy being in the puppet of the Irish, Italian, and Jewish mafia. Two, they don't give a shit for them and basically just use the dues to live like kings. Three, they have committed financial and economic self-deletion of many industries by intentionally making themselves priced out of the market. Most demonstrated by the current Writers Guild of America, who basically, in response to that, are probably going to be replaced with ChatGPT and Fiverr writers from across the pond. Let's see, four on top of that, they want to become the bosses. They don't actually want a fairer wage. They just want to play it as the boss. I think the greatest mistake of all times was to actually have what's called a trade union. Industrial unions, because it's multiple fields in one specific industry, they have to at least try to argue collectively. You know what I mean? So there's less power fifing. It's still a problem, but it's a little less messy. Where are the bomb-throwing anarchists, the bank-robbing Marxists, and the professional revolutionaries intent on remaking the world one insurrection at a time? Well, the bomb-tossing anarchists were all thrown into jail, and also they were responsible for the death of the ideology. Thanks, Italy. Very cool. Insurrectionary anarchism was one of the dumbest decisions to ever invent. Bank-robbing Marxists? Oh, do you mean Joseph Stalin? That's like one of his big things. That's
That's what they want.
legitimately.
They want the next.
Or
They want the
or
next Joseph Steele to come in and
yeah.
kill all the kill all the.
Well, he wouldn't
Or
do
it could
that. He
be
would kill all the
well, no.
farmers.
Or it could be a reference to the Symbionese Liberation Army. You know, the whole Patty Hearst group.
Oh, those are always fun. Let's see, where was I? This entire rant is like really amazing when you know a little bit more of the context. In a historical moment when the right is on the ascendant, when nativists, conservatives, and outright fascists have seized power, the left sleeps. The game was built to wake them up. They've been awake
No,
for a while.
yeah.
Like the progs have
Also,
basically
yeah.
hijacked culture for a decade. It's not our fault that they screwed up and fucking failed.
Also, you don't have to worry about fearing the right. They're currently screwing themselves up by having incompetent leaders or that are barely able to make coherent arguments or coherent policies and are being screwed over by people adhering to the text of the law, or they're in the pocket of Putin, or they're feds that are also closeted homosexuals.
Oh no, I
Whenever you
was
say
going to say
libtard,
all you have to do is just look at the artificial attempt to push Nick Fuentes as the new Charlie Kirk. I think they were going to originally play him more like Richard Spencer, where they just kind of bring him in for controversy. But I think they changed tracks. That's not going to go well. That's not going to go well at all. And it's going to get ugly in 2028. Hell, it might get ugly in 2026. Who knows? This is a trash fire. Comrades was inspired by a lifetime fascination with the early days of the Russian Revolution, where they killed everyone. Socialists who disagreed with them, anarchists who disagreed with them, peasants who wanted them to stop taking their shit. I'm not kidding.
Jews,
I'm not kidding.
Christians, Muslims,
No, I'm not
anyone that
even
likes some
Ukrainians,
kidding, by
money.
the way.
Bosniaks, Kazakhs, every single minority within the Russian sphere of influence.
Yep. Oh, and also they're former party members in the original Russian Social Democratic Labor Party, because
The
the Mensheviks were
military,
part of it.
Out of all the massacres
intellectuals.
that happened, I'll never forget them for cleansing the Cossacks. I love those bastards.
But yeah, the early Russian Revolution. One of the funniest things you could always look up is that there were quite a few socialists on side with the whites because the SRs were split.
Killing so many people that you were getting steamrolled by a one bald Austrian painter.
No, don't forget the time that the Czechs actually that a legion of random Czechs that were stuck in the ass end of nowhere managed to fight their way through your country, steal a few boats, beat your ass at a lake battle. I don't know how they pulled that off since the Czechs don't have a navy, and then got out after kicking your ass some more.
Oh, and then being saved by a capitalist country.
Multiple times. This happened multiple times.
You needed our metals, our grain, hell, even our fleet. Or no, you gave Coca-Cola the fleet for the Coca-Cola.
Hey, remember when we had to give them food because they starved themselves multiple times? And this actually happened even during the 60s, by the way, under Khrushchev.
Oh, I thought you were referring to North Korea.
North Korea, Soviet Union, PRC. Oh no, I'm about to lose a lot of social credit. I don't care. They're all the same. They're all the same in their own horrible ways. It was
All
inspired
right.
by the anarchists who defended Madrid and Barcelona in 1936, who also, I would like to add, are responsible for quite a few people being burned alive in churches and raping a shitload of nuns who had nothing
I
to
also
do with that.
I also like too how he laments and by fascists and betrayed by communists, willing to die because without their cause there was nothing left. You got into a three-way war in Madrid between the regular socialists, fucking anarchs, the fucking commies.
Oh, don't forget
You were never gonna win.
standard liberals. Don't forget that the Republicans had their own Democratic supporters as well.
Franco kicked your ass, bitch.
Mainly because he actually knew how to fuse his shit show of a coalition together. It also helped that the Italians sent a lot of their own men to die.
I wonder what was going through the mind of a Carlist after Franco won. He was just kind of left sitting there. Like, well, now what do I do with my life?
Well, that was a mistake. Also, NDR reminds us when Pepsi became the third largest army in the world. Here's an interesting fact. Did you know that there was originally a Coca-Cola Clear that was specifically given to the Soviet Union just to have an alcohol-free version that can be drank at parties? It was mostly given to Zhukov because he very much loved Coca-Cola.
All right. I will also give this guy this. He also does lament how the uprising in Hungary back in 1956. That was quite bad. Nobody liked that.
What's really funny is that we actually
It
have
was
found
bad.
out recently it was a glowy operation.
Ah, the CIA.
Yeah,
wait, you're telling me the
Hungary
CIA
50,
wait,
50.
you're telling me the CIA actually tried to do a useful uprising for once?
In fairness, Hungary was a political snake pit during this time period. It kind of always has been for like the past 100 years.
More so than Romania?
During the 50s, yeah. During the 50s, yeah.
And he also likes to give a shout out to the Weather Underground. Who,
Well, before we
Adam
talk
has,
about the people who have a negative KD ratio, I want to make fun of Paris in 1968 because the people who protested there, they are known as Maoispantecs, and they eventually inspired Third World Maoism, which is the Western take of Maoism, which culminated in Gonzalo thought. What is Gonzalo thought? It was the revolutionary ideology of Chairman Gonzalo of the Shining Path in Peru. It culminated in them believing that Even from birth, you can be a force of reaction. Hence why they would randomly abduct children of enemies and boil them alive as enemies of the people. I am not fucking with you.
Because the screams and cries of babies as their flesh melts off. That means you're a revolutionary for the people and not a sadist.
Now we can talk about the negative KD ratio of the Weather Underground, which, by the way, reminder, one of their own actually taught our President Obama, like he was a political mentor to the guy. So,
Good old Bill Ayers.
So Weather Underground's magical because the only reason they got slapped on the wrist so much, despite trying bombings for multiple, what was it, like, didn't they do like a bombing a week for like several years?
They
And the
tried
only reason
multiple bombings.
and the only reason they weren't locked up was because they were so fucking incompetent with their explosives. They ended themselves more than their targets. What were their targets, by the way? People who happen to work in police office stations, certain types of apartment blocks, just people that
Military
were at
families.
parks that were talking. Yeah, people who have nothing to do with this sort of stuff, other than being tangentially related to the people they hate.
They were so lame. The big cool black people, Black Panthers that they idolized, literally went on TV and said, "Man, you all some pussies. Fuck off."
By the way, fun fact: if you want to know the glorious decision to grab guns started with the Republicans, specifically because good old Ronald Reagan wanted to get rid of the guns the Black Panthers had, because they basically, to defend themselves, had conceal and carry pistols.
And the Black Panthers actually were doing stuff for their local community. They
I
actually
mean,
were improving
in the
things
same way
on the
that the
ground.
mafia would do, in the same way the mafia would do.
Yeah, they probably
Like
would have
let's
ended
be
up being some
fair,
sort of mob.
they were capable of violence. They did quite a few violent acts. It's just about comparable to the mob. Also, they reference Sacco and Vanzetti, which I don't know. I don't know the specifics. They were communists. They did not necessarily deserve to get their death. They did not deserve to get the death penalty that frickin' quick. And if I remember right, the way they died on the chair was botched. They did not deserve to go the way they did. Let's be blunt. That's one of the few things I'm going to have to agree with this guy on. It was inspired by all of these movies, but it's also the flood of brilliant games that have sprung from Vincent Baker and Megway Baker's Apocalypse World system, which you might remember as the weird bondage sex game that barely has anything to do with the post-apocalypse setting at all. And it really just was a big fat load of nothing and just repeated itself endlessly because it needed to get a certain amount of pages. I really detest Apocalypse World. It is not a good book, and its system isn't even that good.
And the blight it has put on the RPG community.
Monster Hearts, which remember that is the weird you're a supernatural monster, basically having to go on the offenders registry for what you do to teenagers. Night Witches, which we actually covered part 1 of, and I think we gave up on just because, which I just like to call the lesbian military RPG. Because it cared more about lesbian relationships between the pilots than it did the actual Night Witches. And the situation on how all of these Soviet women kind of got fucked over by the government. Dungeon World, which is actually solid. I have no issues with Dungeon World. Worldwide Wrestling, I remember, is also not bad. And I don't know enough about Action Movie World, so I'll be fair and say it's probably okay. It opens with bad, entertainingly bad, and then it kind of goes into decent stuff.
But most of all, this book is inspired by today,
which dates it immediately. Yeah.
Faced with the rebirth of fascism and the normalization of hate, the left in America and elsewhere has responded by whining, by squabbling, by repackaging the same tired ideas, and begging us to believe that they are new. They have responded like the left always does, with an infuriating lack of organization that is permissible only because their ideas are right and their hearts are pure.
Oh god, the right side of
history. So the problem with the left is what happens with the left every single fucking time. Or more to the point, what happens that basically the 20th century curtailed that radicalism to the point that in the United States, the most far left position is democratic socialism.
Which, by the way, do you want to know how scary democratic socialism is? Oh no! If you went to Denmark! Ah!
Oh no, higher taxation rates for the rich
I
and
Oh
also
everybody
like how
else,
no.
but still.
I also like this Idebsian take where they basically said, it's because the left learned empathy at the age of 27.
But I created Comrades to remind us of how we used to fight.
Pathetically,
I hope,
poorly, and with
you
a
know,
horrible KDR ratio.
I hope that a few hours on the front lines of an imaginary revolution
Oh,
will steer you to the
God.
unromantic reality of murdering innocents in the streets, conducting bomb raids uh, on unassuming corporate targets, kidnapping, rape, and other sorts of things that have been done traditionally by guerrilla movements.
I like how he is doing the Comrade Piker approach for this one.
Wait, no. The unromantic reality of fighting for change, calling your representatives, working for charity, running for office, and speaking out not just against what we hate, but in favor of what we love. What a
Wait a minute.
wimpy,
Didn't
pathetic, piss ass fucking revolutionary.
it's even worse than that, because remember, The Last Jedi came out at around like a year prior, so this is him actually quoting Rose Tico here.
Oh, God.
And
He's quoting
obviously,
Rose Tico.
because that's what stopped the Death Star.
Love.
Rose Tico.
You
He
remember,
quoted Rose
you remember
Tico.
when Luke, you remember that scene in A New Hope where Luke was about to blow up the Death Star, but then Leia comes in and crashes her personal yacht into his X-Wing and says, "Oh, Luke, we're not going to win by hate. We're going to win by love."
I actually kind of want a
Mm.
shitpost edit of Obi-Wan Kenobi like interrupting his thoughts by talking about Ahsoka Tano and just showing like
No,
random
no, Luke.
shitposts takes,
No, Luke.
and she was a
Think of
good
the
friend.
hot ass of that princess who's totally not related to you.
Ben didn't tell she was her sister just so he could fuck with Luke.
Well, no. in
That's how I'm
in
getting.
Joke.
That's how I'm getting back at you, Anakin. I'm making an incest fetish in your children. I may be one with the Force, but you know what? I'm a little bit peeved at the younglings you killed.
ang-
Just a little.
anger can lead to hate and suffering, but in this case, I will call this a bit what we call a prank. Very common in the Jedi Temple among younglings. You would know if you didn't stop if you actually attended.
And from a certain point of view, I think Anakin would approve.
I mean,
Uh,
depending on the iteration of Darth Vader, he did on at least one occasion try to clone Padme, I think.
Why not?
So yeah, this game asks you to
so,
throw cynicism and pragmatism aside and fight for a
and
dream.
fight for a dream. A dream that died in 1921.
I also have a
Yeah.
dream too. My dream is for the Reformation and the glory of Xeon. Will this book allow me to
Xeon.
fight for space noid rights?
With the role of the reality grinds you down, remember that within your chest beats the heart of a comrade. With a roll of the dice, you can change the world. And knowledge is power.
Guard it
This
well.
feels like a bad biopic. Like, you know, when they start speaking to a crowd and have them applaud, like we're at the part where the crowd would applaud. So what is this game? That's a good question. What is this game?
Role playing about life in Revolutionary Underground. Now I'll make that point. Revolutionary Underground. Is it a
Correct.
leftist? Is it a rightist? Is it a centrist?
You know what this is, you bitch. Don't be cocky. Don't be coy.
Yes, but it rules as written. It does not state that we have to be role playing as leftist revolutionaries. It says it's inspired by radical leftists, but it does not say that our radicalism has to be on the left side of the political spectrum. It
Well,
doesn't
also
even
keep
mention
in
the
mind.
four-corner political axis.
Also keep in mind that the man who invented Il Fascismo, the El Duce himself, Mussolini, started life as an ardent writer for socialist thought, up to and including being one of their chief publishers for their newspapers, Avanti.
Do you think this bastard that wrote this system imagined to, like, this system is going to be so universal? I can imagine people using this system to play Star Wars. They're going to play the Rebellion.
No.
I don't think he thought that far. I think what happened was he wanted to use this as an attempt to indoctrinate, but in reality, it was more just a grift. I think
He
he's
just wanted
just I
to.
think he's just Hassan Piker maxing here.
He just wanted to LARP as that glorious Bolshevik that is gloriously saving the people and ignoring the fact that there's a gun to his head right as the moment as the revolution ends.
Your lumpen
Do you
prole
think
behaviors have been noted, Ayers. We will put you into Lubyanka so that you can confess your crimes to the people. So yeah, basically a note on ideology. This game was inspired by. Oh yeah, he doesn't clarify. Because the meanings of these words often overlap or contradict because this dude is an American that doesn't know that there are specific terms for this. And because they tend to shift over time. Oh, do you think he got angry when the Communist Party USA decided to go full support for MAGA? Because they did.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they did.
When?
Last year.
Jesus?
Why?
It's like when that's just like when Fuentes pledged his support to Kamala. What the fuck is this?
This is like the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact all over again.
So yeah, there's a lot of ways you can define people. Like socialists can be something as mild as did you vote for Labor? Did you vote for Labor? Or did you vote for the NDP if you're Canadian? You're probably
My
a socialist of some sort.
too, I'm also for socialist policies, but at the same time, too, I wanted for Americans only. National socialism for Americans.
There's a reason why there's a bit of a horseshoe. People, by the way, the best part are the true ideologues of these types hate the horseshoe theory, but it does have some application. It does. Because you want to know one of the funniest things about neoconservatism in general?
What?
What if I told you that several of its founding authors were actually former Trots? Like actual Trotskyites, Fourth International kind of guys.
Was Reagan a Trotskyite, or like what the fuck was his flavor of fuckery
he was a pro FDR Democrat.
Okay, so faggot is what you're telling me.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about this sort of stuff. Marxist is basically anyone who interprets Marx's ideas on how the economy should work. Basically, the social pressures. If you apply class warfare as a concept and basically try to alleviate and do any form of tax relief for the poor or something like that, you could arguably be called a Marxist.
So there's also the fact too that much like words too, revolutionary is also an interesting word because anybody could be a revolutionary.
Oh, true. You can actually revolt to try to enforce a monarchy if you want.
I could be part of the brave mujahideen as I destroy the Western government from taking over my country and bring back the power of Allah and kill persecuted groups that I hate, like the gays.
Well, I mean, the modern left is supporting them quite wholeheartedly right now.
Well, not the Mujahideen, but
Hamas. Other religious terror cells, yeah.
I'm talking about, like he said, revolutionaries that didn't win. Let me tell you here, the one who did win is through the power of Allah with the Taliban. Peace be upon Muhammad.
Let's see. Communists, like I mentioned, they can vary in quality. There are communists that actually reject Marx. Did you know that?
Yes.
I would assume so.
Because the earliest forms of communists were actually religious in orientation. Like the very first communists, you can argue, actually formed about among the Anabaptists in the 1500s.
Were they just?
I believe there was also a Messianic Jewish cult that did something similar. I know that the Zoroastrians had one.
Were they just like really pro Angles and said fuck the other guy?
No, because the point of communists it is essentially a collective take on running a village, the commune. Basically, everyone in the city kind of work collectively, and there's not really there's a power structure, but it is not necessarily one that you would think. It is only there to represent the body. The body is the one that holds the power. Trade unionists, which I think is gross because this man is forgetting the industrial workers of the world. Screw you. Why did you forget about the Wobblies, my guy?
Wait, NDR. I'm sure you could play a cult uprising with this.
Oh yeah, you could.
Oh, absolutely.
Anarchists. What flavor of anarchists? Are we talking individual, communist, collectivist,
syndicalist?
Are we talking? Here's one of the other funny things about anarchism. There's actually a running meme that there's two flavors of anarchist. There's the one that will go straight up into the weird praxis of anarchism, and then there's the one who just screams "F the Jews." It's been a
Because
problem since the 19th century.
What about the anarcho-capitalists?
they'll
Technically,
probably
they
hate
are
the
anarchist.
Jews
No,
because they
they are
wrote.
technically anarchist because they were inspired by Proudhon and the individual take on anarchism. Like we're
Or
talking,
the
we're
yeah,
talking egoism.
or the one group that I stumbled across, anarcho-fascism.
No, they exist. It does exist.
They exist, and I think we should all agree they deserve to die for being idiots.
There's also at least two different strains of anarcho-monarchism.
How?
Basically, the concept is individual communes select a representative to serve their roles in foreign policy, essentially. The king is essentially a figurehead that serves as a very weak first among people, similar to the concept of princeps, the first person.
It's just a diplomat.
Yes.
That has nothing to do with They're not a king.
They have the
It's
title.
anarcho-ambassadorism.
That's one version. There's another version where it is actually a king. So here's the manifesto. The heroes of Comrades have certain principles that they must uphold. 1. Fight. Comrades tell stories of ordinary people willing to die for their ideals. There's nothing more heroic than that. Even though by doing this more times than not, you actually fuck over your ideology.
Like the great revolutionary Charlie Kirk, who died for his ideal of making arguments towards college kids.
And now he's getting replaced by a guy who hated him and tried to ruin his career for a decade.
Respond to injustice, not injustice with silence, not with disapproval, but with fury. Like again, the Italian fascists, after one of their own was killed, and they immediately went to leftist newspapers and beat them up, not with bats because those were illegal, but with frozen fish.
Oh, that's nothing. In early mob wars in New York, what they love to use instead were truncheons.
Don't forget too, also, for a real example instead of a meme one, is when those beautiful those pinko bastards in Spain before the Civil War happened, where they beat, raped, and set fire to nuns in their own churches.
Yeah.
What a bunch of heroes they were.
That's just a religious disagreement.
So 2, refuse compromise. Comrades is a revolution and a fictional one at that. Forget being civilized. Fight for what you want and don't let anyone, even your comrades, get in the way. This has resulted in...
So wait, the Night of the Long Knives.
Yeah.
My name is Abdul Almas, and I really hate Jews. I would like to bomb the synagogue, please. 72 virgins.
What the fuck's a truncheon? It's a bludgeoning instrument, similar to a nightstick.
Man, realize what he's advocating for by saying this shit.
By the way, refusing compromise.
Get away with it.
No, here's the thing: refusing compromise is exactly why the French Revolution failed.
It's exactly why every revolution fails. Because guess what? The only way that you can actually get your agenda fully across is if you are 100% of the people around,
or at least such a vast majority of it that
you either have to
really lessered.
You have to convince people or kill them. So you can't do that. So you're gonna have to compromise and make some resolution that, while it might not be what you want, you get what you need.
It's either total victory or get the fuck out. Understand?
Like I don't know, a certain constitution that, while may not be perfect, was attempting to balance a recently freed group of states.
And then there's also what Napoleon himself did, because he took the title of the emperor not just for his ego. It was mostly for his ego, but there was another reason he did it. His idea was, since he was a petty noble, because he was Corsican nobility, the lowest form of it, but it counted. The idea being that maybe the foreign powers would be less willing to commit financial self-destruction if they had some form of monarch in charge. But because he didn't want to ostracize his Republic allies, you know what Napoleon also did? He described the Republic as still existing, treated his title as emperor more like Augustus did, and kept referring to the Republic for at least 3 years after his crowning. It's similar to how Napoleon III decided to slow boil the revolution himself, because he started as president before declaring himself emperor.
But number 3, don't let the bastards get away with it. What bastards? The greedy, the incompetent, the Jew, the Jehovah's Witness, the trade unionist, the communist, the what else? The Slavs, the Poles, all those evil sons of bitches who rule the world. In real life, no matter how wrong they are, the bastards usually win. Here they don't. Name them, find them, and shove them into ovens.
My
Throw
favorite
the
thing
Jew
about this,
down the well.
I wonder how he
So my
feels
country
watching.
be
Sorry.
free.
So my country
But
can be free.
it's just in the Borat song. Jew down the well.
I wonder how he feels that the left is most now known for its anti-Semitism, like its full-on desire to recreate the problems that happened in the 20th century.
No. Listen, that's not anti-Semitism. No, we are not. That is entirely Hasbara and Israeli propaganda. Those just sneaky Israelis just getting in and worming their way into governments, aligning them only with their Zionist policies. It's like they're occupying the whole thing. And trust me, the left is not anti Semitic. Listen, I have an Orthodox Jew here that says that he's against the state of Israel. Now, I don't realize the fact that he's against it because he only is waiting until the Messiah comes and then is perfectly fine with killing everybody who's not Jewish in that area. But he's on my side.
So my next
It should
question
also
is,
be
why
meant.
are they glazing administrations like China, which actually is committing its own genocide?
Because they're anti-West. They're anti-imperial.
Okay, so my third question is, how is getting rid of Israel not a genocide because of the forced displacement of millions of people from
Well,
the
you
sea
see,
to from the
Well,
sea to the
you
river?
see, you see, Israel was not created on its own. No, they didn't have the Sykes-Picot Agreement or the involvement. The only reason Israel exists is because it's a puppet of the United States. Now, that while may contradict my whole idea about how the U.S. is just being a puppet of Israel, Israel's also a puppet of the United States because they're the only guys that ally with the United States in that area. So, Israel, the United States being imperialist is the only thing that's keeping Israel around. So once Israel's gone, it's a strike against the United States and imperialism, and a victory for the people of the world.
Why is the people of
would
the
you also
world
have
all brown and black?
Yes,
you also you also have to understand too, Adam. There's a problem going on too in my country as well. Going back to what my good friend, Jewish friend here was saying is people. There are people in my government right now. It's the hierarchy stack right now, putting the needs of the Zionist above the need of the American and the trade unionists and the communist. They're occupying our government. It's almost like there's a Zionist occupied government. That's what we're dealing with.
Russia was a mistake as a country, given some of the dumbest ideas seem to have come from it and Italy. Actually, Russia and Italy, they should never have formed. Both of them are what we call mistakes of the national consciousness.
they
So,
did give
how does
us
this work?
art. The Italians at least gave us art,
No, they
and the
didn't.
Russians did
The
give us
city-states did.
suicide, and they gave us suicidal novelists.
They also invented the actual term for a specific type of nonce.
Russia or Italy?
Russia, Lolita. The entire story is about Humphrey Humphreys crushing after a young girl, remember?
Okay, yeah, kill them all. This is the first time I'm going to say it. Hitler didn't go far enough.
Wah, wah, wah.
West, I mean, or east.
I'm just. So you wanted him to build the America bomber and shoot the Empire State Building? I'm just envisioning you going, no, listen to, oh man.
Just Hava Nagila Hav as the bomb is slowly dropping out of I don't know what it is, the Messerschmitt or whatever the
out,
fuck
out of
their
the
bomber
out of the
was.
America bomber project.
It just it's just as a Midwestern Jew, fuck the Borscht Belt. Fuck Fuck the Eastern American Jews. Always getting all the credit for the movies and the comedy. Who made Second City? Who made Second City, motherfucker?
Oh man. This is interesting. Even though it's powered by the apocalypse, this guy uses the game master instead. I would have gone with GS for general secretary.
Ah,
That could have been a fun one. Or alternatively, you could have it be le directeur after the term for the directorate, which commanded the Republic of France if you didn't want to go
or if you're
communist.
going with the underground, the leader, the organizer.
Yeah, I mean, come on, come on. All of the other ones have their own stupid take on this, and the basic powered by the apocalypse one is the master of ceremonies.
So with Comrades, they have three types of distinct moves: your basics, your specials, and your GMs. Now, it may sound like these are different from everything else we've seen in Powered by the Apocalypse, but no, these are exactly the same as we've seen in pretty much all of Powered by the Apocalypse.
Yeah, basically all classes have the basic moves. Special moves are special class ones, and GM moves is what you're supposed to do in response to their stuff.
10 plus, strong hit, things go player's way. 7 through 9, weak hit, things go the player's way, sort of. 6 or lower, it's a miss. Um,
Which
I
is
guess the
one of the
difference,
problems with Powered by the Apocalypse, because without any
yeah,
bonuses, what traditionally happens is you're more likely to semi-fail or fail than you are to succeed.
I guess the only difference here is that there's a plus and minus 3 instead of normally the plus or minus 2.
That's interesting. That's a little more swingy than normal. I think this was his attempt to fix that.
Yeah.
By the way, Percival actually thinks that this game would actually be pretty useful if you wanted to run a Gene Stealer cult revolution on a world in Warhammer.
I mean, I would use Imperium Maledictum probably.
I think just either Imperium Maledictum, Black Crusade, minis game using Necromunda perhaps. Just
Necromunda does actually have both Gene Stealer Cult, another different Gene Stealer Cult from a hive that got blown up, and then Gene Stealer Corrupted, uh, I guess, gangs. It's a fun game.
Here's a section. A revolution all their own. Revolutions are complex. They may start in parliament, in the barracks, or in the streets. They may finish with riots that terrify a despot into fleeing the country, or a coup so tightly organized that few even notice when it happens. To represent this variety, Comrades offers different pathways to revolution, as explained on page 38, that allow your players to seize power in the way that suits them best. So you want to go full Auguste Blanqui? You can go Auguste Blanqui. Do you want to do the September of Terror a la Danton? You can do it a la Danton. If you want to go
Yeah.
full on slobberknocker like the Russian Civil War, go ahead. Do you want to kill 1 billion people in your Chinese Civil War? Go right ahead.
Some methods are legal and some are not. So you could either seize power by having was it the prime minister make your put you as, I guess, the next head of state, or you just kill someone.
I kind of like
Some
that
are
this guy is low key advocating for political machines.
Yeah, some are moral.
Tammany
Like,
Hall is corrupt unless we get our hands on Tammany Hall.
I actually can't think of a revolution that went through moral means. Some are vile. Like, oh, I don't know, being involved in a massive civil war and then taking over in the aftermath of a world war.
Yeah, that's pretty vile. Another one is to run an actual terror campaign. You know, for like 30 years and then
But
eventually get what you want.
now, after telling us in the beginning why you're making this game, we need to know why play this game. Because in real life, you will probably never get to start a revolution. Hear that, player? You're a weak, spineless fool who will never be able to create the glorious utopian future that we all dream will happen.
This is
You're
him
gonna
seething
die.
about his failures.
Yeah, you're gonna die in the corrupt, authoritarian, oppressive state which you have no means of changing.
It doesn't matter
Wherever
where
you
you fall
fa-
on the
yeah,
spectrum. There have been
sure.
times in your life that you've been angry at the way things are. Comrades will let you use that rage to remake a world. By the way, I hated this when Werewolf the 5th edition did this. Still kind of hate it now.
Wait, so I can LARP as Carl Benjamin and deport all of the brown people from my great country of my great single ethnicity country of the United Kingdom?
You hear it here. You can do your headcanon LARP of going up to Tesla to burn down Elon Musk in a I don't know, a Cybertruck strapped to a rocket. Go ahead, why not? Turn it into a murder fantasy.
I can make my all-white ethno-state of America?
I mean,
Yes.
he says that you shouldn't because he keeps crying about fascism, but what's to stop you from just saying no?
Wait, because fantasizing about fictional revolution will help you cope with a reality in which political change is not so exciting. My hope is that this game will give you the strength to be a little less compromising and free you to demand government live up to your beautiful ideals. That
And
is
then seethe
compromise.
and then seethe when it doesn't happen because the
Uh,
guys you elect fucking
just shoot,
backstab you.
just shoot to like some fucker like ranting about his political ideology, then just get his fucking brains blown out by a police officer.
Personally, losing is fun.
That is a classic line. Losing is very much fun, especially if you're a fan of Dwarf Fortress.
You see, you actually learn something out of that.
True, because
Unlike this,
eventually your colony will fail.
in which you just see that you can't kill the landlord without going to jail.
We then open up with a Molotov cocktail, which got its name specifically because of the Finnish War. So originally these were just called firebombs. They were used on and off before this point. They first started seeing mass usage during the Spanish Civil War, this type of iteration, because bottles became cheaper to work with. But it got its name specifically because the Finns used these to great effect on Soviet armored units because, well, let's be blunt, they didn't have a lot of equipment, but they did have access to things like vodka and high proof liquor.
Wait, hold on. What ideology was the Soviet Union again?
It depends, because on more than one occasion, whenever a country like the Soviet Union collapses, you'll have a bunch of leftists going, "That's not true communism or not true socialism."
I presume they weren't some form of a capitalism, a fascism, or a monarchy.
I'd also like to take into account too. Sorry to backtrack, but on
No, that's
page
fine.
18, there's just a picture of like what appears to be an African American biker chick right there. So once again, we're going back to the left's absolute weird fascination between queer brown women able to defeat authoritarian regimes.
Oh no,
Why is this the
there's also
thing?
the desire to lower their number because notice she's not wearing a helmet. Much like Planned Parenthood. What did
God.
you mean by this, Akers?
Oh, thank you, God.
But isn't it funny that a revolutionary organization bent on that wasn't Trotskyite is invading another country to consume its resources?
It wasn't even for
Kind of
that.
like kind of like the entire opposite of what Lenin thought about imperialism.
You know the dumbest thing about that war is it legitimately was just the Soviets demanding a 40-mile stretch to just get a little bit of extra I mean, let's be blunt. The Soviets would have pushed for all they fucking could because they thought they could bully Finland since the Western powers are too occupied. That's the real reason. But the official reason, the totally not a lie reason, was just to readdress the borders around Leningrad, which is now known as St. Petersburg again.
Out of curiosity, when it came to like interactions with the third world and exporting resources from it, what the fuck was the Soviet method?
Uh, prop
Same
up
thing that the U.S. was.
anti-colonial rebels, which is what the U.S. also did. Hopefully, have it fall to communism so that they can then get the resources out of it by using a series of unfair trade deals. The Soviets were never quite able to work with this because the U.S. was dead set on stopping them, but China, to much great effect, is growing stronger and larger by doing so. Because the Chinese do it too nowadays. Belt and Road
The
Initiative.
USSR was an anarcho-primitive vegan regime, clearly.
So
I could believe it. I could believe it given the starvation that happened.
So I'm a starving African. What the fuck is the difference if I choose Uncle Sam or the bear?
It depends on what gun you get, really.
Which group is going to murder you?
Yes,
Yes.
both of them.
And actually, which group is going to I'd say actually the left was more on the side of performing radical reshaping experiments of society, like Mozambique, or Zimbabwe,
The funny thing
or
is that
Zaire.
the funniest thing is that's actually due to Zimbabwe's formation that South Africa. Nelson Mandela, for all of his faults, because he is a very flawed guy. Seriously, look into some of his behaviors, activities, and life. The dude's a trash fire. But this is why he
Like,
wasn't horrible, because he saw what happened when Zimbabwe did it under Mugabe.
and now South Africa is a prosperous country.
Eh,
I mean, in fairness, I think it would have been fucked regardless, just because of the way things were handled. But it was slower than it could have been. It was a slower decline than it could have been, at least.
it's almost like having a race-based society is fucking horrible.
It doesn't also help that you want to know what one of the funnier things South Africa did. That what did he mean by this? So a bunch of refugees from other African countries that were worse off because, let's be fair, decolonization was a trash fire, escaped into South Africa. Mandela accepted them, which that caused a lot of resource strain.
Yeah.
I'll just simply state that. So the
So,
basic stat stuff,
yeah,
there's nothing
body,
that unique.
mind, spirit, guile. I like Bond though, in which you can help or hinder a comrade, share a quiet moment, or cradle a dying comrade.
So Bond's basically, this is from Dungeon World, because for those who are not familiar with the Powered by the Apocalypse system, I don't think there's that many of you that aren't, but very quickly, Bonds replaced the sex mechanic that the early games that used the system had, because, like I said, Apocalypse World was a goon sesh disguised as a RPG. You can thank Dungeon World for that. By the way, Dungeon World was written by the guy who made a robot come on live stream without their consent.
We should specify that was a woman's character.
Correct.
He didn't he's not that much of a genius to fulfill Elon's dream.
No, he is not the anti-Will Stancil. He did not make Grok come without its consent.
But yeah, let's see here in
Metric
terms
Steel
of
has
it.
a great line, but at least we have the saying, it isn't gay if it's in Zimbabwe.
Uh, so for its harm here, unfortunately, unlike meat punks, you can't be talked into killing yourself.
Well, it's not even that
Uh,
you talk in. So,
no, if
bad
you
Powered by
suffered,
the Apocalypse games, what they have a bad habit of doing is you take. There's two ways you can get harmed. There's just physical harm, and then there's essentially a social equivalent to harm. In bad versions of the game, I could literally call you a shit-sucking moron, and you can drop dead from the sad. Not even from ending it. Just you flop over dead. Your heart shattered to 0%. That's pretty dumb, isn't it?
it yeah. In this case, no, it's if you get physical hit, you can't take extreme stress, trauma, and exhaustion to cause one harm. Although they say it's better to push someone from no to one than from three to four.
You could always argue that if you wanted to play this as the revolution eating its own, you could turn the social harm into how much damage your reputation gets before you're tried by your peers and shot on the battlefield. Because that happened a lot in a lot of these revolutions.
Hey, not one step back.
Not even just not one step back. Remember that one of the quotes they referenced Danton. He was a member of, I think it was called the Cordelier, which is one of the many clubs that the French had during the Revolution. He was killed by a barber, and so was Robespierre. So you can kind of, I would say this is one of the few times you could do it as a social HP sort of thing, because that represents your influence in the party or
Hmm,
influence in the Revolutionary Brotherhood. It goes to zero, you're deemed a traitor to it and killed.
as you do.
I'm just
Um,
trying to play devil's advocate for introducing the harm by a social interaction mechanic.
let's say so. If you reach four harm, You're dying. You can then have another player cradle a dying comrade to coax them back to life, in which if you succeed, they are safe from death, reduced to 3 harm. On anything less, they just die.
Hey, Zen Gunman has a really cool point. The Finns put the term Molotov on a lot of things because it was a big middle finger, because at the time Molotov was the Soviet foreign minister, replacing, I believe his name was Maxim Litvinov. Molotov was
Question, by
essentially...
replacing, do you mean just a change of position, or was that guy no longer around?
No, it was a change in position, although I wouldn't be surprised if Litvinov got removed later on permanently. Sometimes they do rotate around. I don't think Litvinov was killed for this, if I remember
Well,
I
right.
didn't even know all these people, Adam. It's quite impressive that you know a lot of these figures in Soviet history.
Because
I
Soviet
can barely
Union
keep
history
up
is
what I have
quite
for breakfast.
interesting. And someone has to talk about this stuff since Tech's not here to talk about it.
the traitor.
And glaze it.
He's an enemy of the state. We need to try him in absentia while he's hiding as an American
wrecker.
expat.
No, we need to send somebody to stab him with an ice pick after he's done having sex with a artist with a unibrow. God, Frida's one ugly bitch.
Well, no, actually, here's the funny thing.
God, that's fucking. I'm going on a rant. I don't care about her art. Shave that fucking unibrow. Looks fucking awful.
What if I told you that she actually drew herself ugly on purpose and looked better in person?
Okay, then that's a brilliant artist.
If you're wondering, she had self-image issues.
Okay. That's. I just hope
She did
wasn't
have the
going like that,
unibrow, though. She did have it. It just wasn't as thick as what she depicts.
because I don't know how Trotsky could get hard at that.
I don't know. It's just it just Lev things. Well, actually, no, I do know, because here's the weird thing. Unibrows were actually seen as rather sexy among some parts of the Slavic and Turkoman peoples in Russia. That's why. I'm not even kidding. In certain areas of the world, the unibrow is seen as sexy, and I think it's like hit or miss with with Russians. It's much more hit among Turkic peoples, though. At least half of them. The other half think it's ugly as shit.
What kind of degenerate? Oh,
I mean, we're talking about cultural standards of beauty, which, reminder, at one point it was considered beautiful to forcibly destroy a woman's foot to make them as tiny as possible in parts of China.
I don't know. I can somehow understand that just from a sort of
Do you want to know one of the funniest
you want
things
them to look
about...
diminutive and small, but like the idea of a fucking unibrow.
So here's another weird fact. Do you want to know why the Han hated the Qing Qipao, which is their symbol of banner, like the ponytail? It's actually not because they didn't like the ponytail. It's because a proper, not a Qipao. Qipao is the dress. I forget the Q, the ponytail that they were supposed to have when addressing the Qing, because they're Manchu. It's not because of that ponytail. It's because they were also forced to shave a bit of their front. Like they were forced to shave a little bit of the front of their scalp. The Han think that having luscious locks was considered attractive, and they thought, you're not ruining my fucking riz. I'm not even kidding. If the Qing bowed even slightly by allowing them to not shave the front of their heads, they would have been fine.
Yeah. I do like though Zen is pointing out that the Finns were calling things like the cluster munitions that the Russian bombers were dropping on Helsinki Molotov break baskets,
Yeah.
because the Soviets claimed that those were humanitarian aid.
Yeah, they did. So Vyacheslav Molotov is one of the old Bolsheviks. And also, just to play up the meme, he's Jewish! There was a lot of Jews in the old Bolsheviks. He's also one of the only ones that didn't get purged by the time Stalin was done. There weren't many of
Hava,
them.
Nagila Hava, one of us lived. Hooray, one of us lived.
I mean, most of you got killed. Zinoviev, I think, was Jewish. I know Trotsky was, because his original name was Lev Bronstein. So a lot of them were killed. A disturbing
Hey, but
amount of them were
one
killed.
of us lived.
I think he got gulagged, though, by Khrushchev.
You don't understand the Jewish mindset. One of us lived. But let's see. With this game, you can heal 1 harm per day at 1 to 2 injury. At 3, injuries get worse, but you can perhaps be healed by sharing a quiet moment. Oh boy!
Several of your ribs are broken. Your lung is partially destroyed. Your ankle has been twisted backwards. I am going to give you a sad hand job to fix this, comrade.
It's like the sex scene from The Last of Us.
Hey there, Jimmy. We're just taking the piss out of comrade. Mainly
Wonder.
because the quiet moment is supposed to be like a role-playing session. In this game, it's not sexual, but in other Powered by the Apocalypse games, it depends on what game you're playing. Sometimes it is.
I'm noticing in recent years too, like most like new RPGs, they're really focused on you need to have the quiet moment. You need to have these moments. While like the original Dungeons and Dragons, man, was solely on the fucking like dungeon delving back in the day too, and there was a slow scene that would happen like naturally.
Well,
Because
yeah,
like this
they
shit's
they
being pushed.
assumed that you were smarter than basically earlier RPGs had this understanding that they expected you to not be clinically disabled mentally.
But I want to do my critical role. I need to know how to do my critical role exactly how they do it.
So as for experience, when a player rolls 6 or less, they mark experience. When a bond with another reaches +4, they mark experience and reset the bond to 1. The standard Powered by the Apocalypse sloppa.
Yeah.
But I will say they at least have more advances than some games of this type do.
Add to a stat, form I guess for this one the artist form a gang of artists.
I like how one
Uh,
of the advances is to just leave.
well, no, I like the gang of artists, the Baroque Boys.
A gang of artists. Oh, I know why this exists, because remember, in Apocalypse World, they occasionally try to pretend that minion mancy is a thing you have to deal with. Metric Steel. Have a quiet moment with dying partner, but it better not be prayer, for that is not allowed in the party.
Yeah, certain
If you
playbooks
pray,
allow
you'll
for
get shot. You'll get shot.
gangs.
Your lover gets shot. Your friend gets shot. Guy who sold you pierogi, shot.
The the gangs have basically can get a +1 to certain rolls.
Where's the
Give
rape?
you a +4.
The rape stat. I really was like reading about the rapes that happened in Berlin back in the day.
In fairness, that wasn't the frontline troopers. Most of these guys were the guys that swept in after.
But then we get our basic moves again. And actually, in this case, they actually, when you get the 7 through 9 roll, you actually have a pick between options. It's not whatever the GM thinks.
That's actually
It's
useful.
it's not a complication. Like if
Th-
you're getting rough, like, and this actually could be much better in like sort of a story thing of like, as I say, for getting rough, you deal great harm, you take no harm, or you disengage. It could be if you're like tussling with actually a comrade, you don't actually want to hurt them. So if you get the 10, do you do no harm and disengage, or you just disengage?
This already elevates it above a lot of Powered by the Apocalypse games just for this. So this actually allows me to segue a little bit into why I'm not a big fan of where Onyx Path is going. They're kind of committing to the story path system that Scion uses, and Scion has this sort of you need 3 successes to avoid complications bullshit. It's very clearly just an attempt to change it up enough so that they don't get in trouble with Paradox because they own the rights to the storyteller system. But by doing this, they make a worse version of the storyteller system, so why should I care?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like now's the time more than anything to double down on being this is what White Wolf used to be, because it looks like Paradox doesn't even want to look at the system after the failure of the Vampire the Masquerade 2.
Well, yeah, they're also staring and looking at the book sales, which are also plummeting like shit.
I do like this though, with also the getting rough though option, where shooting a gun in a room full of people with guns is getting rough, but firing a sniper rifle from across the street, taking a risk. Which I think helps with like a Power by the Apocalypse system. It's not necessarily I use my dexterity for ranged combat all the time. Sometimes it's I use my strength for ranged combat because it's not just the skill of being able to aim, but maybe the type of weapon.
And if you've botched getting rough, and by botch you get under 6, the GM can choose to deliver trouble, deal harm, offer a nasty choice, or anything else that hurts. You can also do an assessment roll, which is what's going on here. There's taking risks, which is what you can do to snipe. Start something, which basically is a charisma move. I I kind of hate how the way they handle this is by describing what like using these words like start something, take a
Yeah.
risk. I fucking hate that because it makes it somewhat more difficult to actually understand what you're going for. Also,
Let's
Zen
see.
Gunman
Oh,
has an excellent point. Vampire the Masquerade 20th Anniversary Edition is 30 spots higher on the Drive-Thru RPG sales chart than 5th edition, which that is a big
ooh.
fucking oof since 5th edition has been around for a decade by now.
That'd be like Games Workshop releasing 11th edition, and then people saying, "No, no, I want to go back to 5th edition."
This would no, this would be for comparison's sake. This would be like if when Old World comes out again, when the Old World tabletop game
2nd
comes
edition.
out, it somehow sells 30 spots lower than Age of Shitmar. Kind
Like,
of
still,
comparable.
no, I think the better comparison would be if when 2nd edition comes out, people are like, "No, no, I'm gonna go back to 6th edition,
Yeah,
the one that's no longer in print."
yeah, yeah.
So
These,
the
by the way, if you're
helper,
wondering what these are all generic moves, so everyone gets
yeah,
the ability to use these. I get
we
what
got
sneak and sway means, though.
yeah, helper hinder a comrade, in which yes, you can interfere uh,
Before
with
that, I want to
somebody.
make a comment because one of the examples they get is imprisoned by a corrupt police lieutenant. They attempt to sway him to let her go free. He agrees to let her walk out of the station on condition she lets slip the evidence locker on the way out and plant something that would negate one of her comrades. So, what should I mention the multiple times that some of the more successful revolutions are because they got the cops on side?
You mean like basically they were able to co-opt the local law enforcement to their power structure?
Reminder that the original Chekists, which became members of the KGB, were former members of the Okhrana, the Imperial Intelligence Service of Russia.
Almost like they have training and techniques that could be useful.
Mm-hmm. There's
Or
also a
to or
reason why the leaders of the French Revolution were primarily lawyers and middle class people that actually had an education and experience in running some systems. Also, petty noblemen occasionally.
or to give a Star Wars reference, why the fact that the Rebel Alliance was made up entirely of former Republic
Mostly
senators
senators. There were
and
radicals
and
like Saw
and
Gerrera, but most of the
yeah,
leaders were people that actually had experience, at least running a planet, if not a whole system.
or former military, either Republic or Empire.
Or separatists. Some of them were former members of the CIS.
Almost like they have training and experience that makes them better than just being a student.
What
Yep.
are you talking about? I know they all got horribly killed in that scene at the end of Revenge of the Sith, where they got corralled on Mustafar and all killed.
Oh no,
Dice
those
or
are the
Delso.
corrupt oligarch heads. There were also, thanks to the weird take of the Clone Wars, there was also the Separatist Senate, which still existed.
Resistance, other resistance movements, other people that weren't just backed by corporations, but people generally that were like, fuck the Republic, I want to be independent.
Which is one of the few things I have to give the Dave Filoni fanfic credit for. That's a good concept. They could have played a little bit more with it.
Let's see. Just going further, again, there's sharing the quiet moment, cradling the dying comrade, adjusting bond. But then page 38 gives us the pathways to revolution,
Which I think is
be it
going to be the most interesting part of this
yeah,
book.
be it by force, organization, zealotry, mayhem, or fellowship.
And each pathway consists of 5 levels. When the final level is reached, the revolution is at hand, and the next session will probably be the last. Groups that prefer open-ended play may choose to disregard these pathways or adapt them to suit the game's style. So how do we use these pathways? Advancing a level reshapes the world for good and bad. You mean for good or ill?
Yeah, that should be what it says, but
I kind of hate the attempts to speak down because it also lowers the usage of words. Like I'm not exactly the most verbose. I don't have exactly the largest vocabulary or effective use of diction. I'm prone to speech errors. But here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with using an occasional $2 word. It's when you abuse it and try to pretend that you're more intelligent than you actually are.
so when the
I'm
agrarian
just
Marxist
taking
group,
the piss.
yeah,
It's not a big deal. It's just kind of
when
annoying.
the agrarian Marxist group, the Bloody Plow, reaches level 2 in zealotry, their newspaper, Pain and Grain, becomes popular across the country, allowing them to spread their message wider than before. As a result, the secret police may crack down on their distribution networks, their newsprint suppliers, printers, or writers.
I mean, one of the first examples that multiple times for the Bolsheviks, if I Pravda had to move locations repeatedly, and on at least one occasion they actually lost their printing press because the Okhrana took it before they could get it out.
So, force. This is the pro approach for parties that lead with their fists, or
Oh,
lead
there
with
is one
lead.
other fun thing. Did you know that? Did you know that the train robber Joseph Stalin actually spent time as a newspaper guy? He actually also wrote quite a bit for Pravda. That's where he got the pen name Stalin from.
Ah, thank you, journalists.
This
But
is why we should execute all journalists on site.
He also
worth
Yeah,
was really shit. He also struggled in learning Russian, so he had a very thick Georgian accent during this time.
behead journalists, roundhouse kick a journalist, push a journalist down the stairs, slam dunk a journalist baby into the trash can.
I mean, you could try to do that with Stalin, but he would just shoot you in cold blood. Remember, he started as a bank robber and as a train robber. Like the dude actually was hardcore.
Yeah. So, let's see. Force represents the ability to fight openly, whether with the police, the army, rivals, or innocents. The more the party relies on overwhelming violence, the more likely to advance in force and reach a point where leftists are mistaken for fascists. Because, well, you kind of are. When you are, quote, adopting uniforms and armbands and increase turnouts through voter intimidation, violence, and fraud, and organizing shock troops to take the streets. Uh, Italians ring a bell?
I mean, the Soviets also kind of did that with the Red Guard, remember?
Oh, yeah.
You kind of saw a little bit, admittedly, on both sides during the Spanish before the Civil War as well. Say Spain and democracy was kind of a shit show back in the day.
Well, yeah, because there was also Durruti's corps, the Durruti Corps, basically anarchists under what was his name, something Durruti. He was one who, if I recall correctly, made his career in a similar way to Stalin as a bandit. Literally, he robbed people to fund the anarchist
Oh,
movement.
But the next one is organization. The most difficult pathway to walk as it represents a party's infrastructure, communications, and logistics, giving them a chance to take power legally.
Which
So,
is actually what happened in Nepal. The Communist Party did so.
did that, and then they fell to corruption and recently were ousted violently.
I mean, in fairness, Nepal is a nightmare state. Because remember, the monarchy faded because one of the princelings legitimately crashed out and did a mass shooting on his own family and then himself.
Now it's one way to end a monarchy.
That is one of the most hardcore ways to end a monarchy I've ever seen.
At least no one can claim the throne.
Then there's zealotry, which you try to play to the crowd and take strength from the mob, which is the standard concept of professional revolutionaries, mostly professed by Nechayev. Mao himself also believed in the utilization of the masses and the People's War. This one was very popular.
Then mayhem. Indiscriminate violence.
This is the action of the deed. This is how Italian anarchists usually did their stuff, which included bombing their king, Umberto II, which worked so well for them that they were banned and basically brutalized relentlessly.
So this is literally the Al Qaeda strategy.
Yeah, it
or
doesn't
the
usually
Taliban.
go well.
And fellowship. For those who believe in the spirit de corps, is more important than ideology. You recruit friends, recruit talented people, transcend all barriers, and finally, the bond of trust in your comrades is so much that through the power of friendship, you Care Bears stare the head of state into coming to your side.
Also, Pagan Pilot can't stay much longer, so have a good night, man. But he asks, can't stay long, but will say a commies RPG rehashing powered by the apocalypse fad, isn't that very capitalistic? Yeah, yeah, this guy is abusing capitalism, even though he
Well,
criticizes it.
no, I like to be fair. The whole personal private property shtick. Technically, if he's doing this all on his own and he's controlling all of the means of production, yes, it is capitalistic, but he is not. But he's owning all of the means of production.
Well, you didn't even have to go that far. There are several strains of socialism that believe in using a market system anyway. Social democracies, for example, often use it instead of centralized planning. Um, Early forms of social movements like reform, for example, not reform, labor, they would use it. Basically, you can still believe in a market system and be socialist. It's just who gets the control over it. And in a more socialist economy, it's usually in the form of worker collectives, national state industries, perhaps, or smaller businesses where they have to, at the very least, have an advisory board of the workers of it. Like, let's say you have a garment factory, it's still owned by like a CEO or something. They have to, at minimum, have someone that represents the labor board for it, the people who actually work along the textiles. And they should have the ability to, at the very least, pressure the boss into shutting shit down if things and conditions are going wrong. Basic stuff like that.
Yeah.
As for fellowship, basically this is the Auguste Blanqui method, where you privately internally coup the government. Because that's the way Auguste Blanqui's concept was. Basically, he didn't really care about what the structure of the system would
Who
be
was
after it.
sorry? Who was Auguste Blanqui?
Oh, so he was a French revolutionary and actually a contemporary of. He was a contemporary of Napoleon III. He was responsible for
Oh, so
penning the vanguard movement in general because he believed that
48.
yeah, he was
So
part of the 48
1840.
revolution. He then tried to overthrow the Second Republic because his entire thing was essentially that if a government is corrupt or unjust, you needed to have a vanguard of people that could basically decapitate the snake and take over quickly.
How did that turn out?
Uh, well, he basically lost a lot of popularity except among a few people. I think at one point he was invited by other Marxists, but he basically rejected them. Dude was a weird guy. So there's pathway moves. At the end of each session, ask your players to choose a comrade whose efforts today best embody the spirit of the revolution. Let this comrade make rolls for the pathway moves whose criteria have been met. And what happens here is you roll with the guy's stats. So body for force, mind with organization,
So on and so
spirit
forth.
on zealotry. Yeah, basically that.
And then then it goes to the last session. But they make a point here. It gives you a chance to seize power, but not that you may succeed. Most revolutions are a series of coups and counter coups. If your comrades fall short, but they still have the fight left in them, the campaign may continue, and the revolution continues again and again and again.
Until you get
Eternal
this image
revolution.
of a
Meet
burned out building.
meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Okay, so we got won't get fooled again. I also got the trooper plan in my mind too. The whole idea of just like a revolving revolution, just you take my life and you take yours too.
And Pagan Pilot highlights, and yet socialism, labor, and unions got crushed in the USSR. Isn't that weird? Yeah, it is weird, isn't it?
No, they weren't sufficiently revolutionary enough.
That was the main excuse.
To be fair to this author too, it sounds like he does have a distaste for the commies too.
He
It sounds like
does,
I don't
but he
know.
still holds
No,
water for them occasionally.
he's aware of the failures of revolutions, yet he still simps and idolizes for that pure ideal of a revolutionary movement in which, yes, the good guys win and everything's right and nothing bad happens.
Basically, this is a guy who doesn't want to get his hands dirty as other people basically shovel the shit.
Well, actually, better to quote Saw Gerrera, save the dream.
Well, no, save the dream, and then he just explodes.
Better yet,
I don't know
he
why
fought.
people are trying to hold water for Rogue One, man. It is a mediocre movie at best.
Remember what Forrest Whitaker said? I don't need to be saved. Go. I'll hold off the Death Star. He blows up.
I don't think he said it, but it's just like, you go, because at this point he's a dying old man that's feeding memories to, or feeding people to some sort of tentacle creature because he's fucking paranoid about Imperial spies.
And now now you kind of understand why I think Rogue One isn't as good as people claim it is. I think it's just, you ever have that situation where you're tortured in Lubyanka and you get hit with the bag of oranges until you're broken, and then the guy starts being your friend for a day and gets rid of the torture just to make you love them more? That's what I feel like Rogue One is. I feel like Rogue One is the good cop day in your torture in Lubyanka.
That's one way to put it.
Like, you're still in prison, you still have lice, and you're still going to be executed as an enemy of the people. But at least that day was better than the last one.
Yeah. So, we have 10 character types, and there are more available on the website, wmakers.net/comrades. But our playbooks are the artist, so presumably a futurist.
No. The artists, basically, these are the losers that shit up Twitter. These are the people that basically do commission art, want to end it all because they only get people who demand, please get foot fetish art, please, for a ridiculous amount of money.
I'm saying more for the right wing, or the reactionary revolutionary.
Oh, no, those are the guys who just feed, hey, can you have Jesus gay hugging me, Grok? Grok, could you please make this so that I can put it on a shirt and make money out of it? This is the dude who tries to shill the gorilla mindset.
I was thinking historical, but yeah, modern works as well.
This is the grifter crowd.
But
grifter
then
crowd,
goes
sorry.
the brute, aka the guys who really think in their late 40s that they could go after Antifa with a stick.
I was gonna go with the
member base Stickman. I think he's in jail now.
He is. I was actually going to compare him to the noted conservative author and known extremely tough guy, Patrick S. Tomlinson. He is a conservative. He is a reactionary. He wants women to shut up. And he also hates minorities, given what he has done to the African community nearby him.
No, child, you will not talk bad about Patrick S. Tomlinson. Enjoy prison, stalker child.
Poor little Jamarcus, turned into pepperoni to sell to the Italian meat market.
But then we have here the demagogue.
This is what Nick Fuentes wishes he was. You know, when he bragged about being Hitler 2, 3, and 4 all at once.
He wishes he was the fucking Goebbels. The mystic. AKA all those guys who are like, I can connect with Agartha and the Palladians.
These are the guys that want to have the mind control hats to send liberals into the crystals.
We need to reconnect with our ancestors, the Nordic Vikings, who are totally also Nazis.
Oh, and also they're the ones that are the most homoerotic of the movement, usually.
Or the
Indian.
Or the Christo-fascists.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of mystics are self-hating browns, yeah.
Well, the only thing we need is America, God, faith, in an entirely warped view of Christianity where we fuck the poor people.
Well, it's not Christianity. Remember, they're shilling for Islam now. They're getting a bunch of random high yellows to shill for Islam now.
We need back where women are in their place and where we don't do anything about making the world a better place, because that's what Jesus would want to do.
Zen Gunman. No, reactionary child. It is you who is insufficiently revolutionary. Enjoy Lubyanka.
Oh, God.
But then we have the patron. The wealthy revolutionary, the patron supports her comrades financially and emotionally in order to shed the guilt of being born with money or being born brown.
Oh God, I hate the patron are probably my least favorite sorts when it comes to just
It's
these are the people who scream, "No, I am one of you," as they are shot by commissars Jamal and Zebediah during the
it's
American
it's,
Second Revolution.
it's the Son Piker.
I mean, yeah, people say eat the rich. I
He's
want to
kind of
start
more
with
the
him.
demagogue. He's kind of more,
No,
or
he
I guess in
isn't.
this
He's too
case,
stupid for that. Also, he's the fat. Remember, he's the little fat boy who rode on the horse wearing riding crops in the fucking helmet.
uh, but then we
Oh
actually no,
yeah,
because
you're right. He steals other people's money, his dents to give, because he doesn't like giving money, which is
which
surprisingly Semitic for a Turkish
pay,
man.
yeah, pay which playbook is Posidism? Mystic. Uh, but then we have the professional, veteran of countless revolutions around the globe. I wonder why. Professional has training and expertise the other comrades can only dream of.
By the way,
Oh, so like
this is
noted rich guy Che Guevara, who set up so many revolutions that got immediately butchered by the Americans because Castro wanted the Americans off the back of Cuba.
also, don't forget that he killed quite a few people personally, and he was a violent little thug.
To be fair, the last owner of Cuba he was just that much of an asshole.
True.
Yeah.
Batista sucks. Like, I'll be blunt, Batista sucked
Yeah.
horribly. I'm just highlighting that I find it darkly ironic that the man who basically sent thousands of black people to their own death, and killed quite a few of them himself, and had nothing but contempt for them, by the way, is now being sold by capitalist pig dogs on shirts. It's comparable to people ignoring that Nelson Mandela was a wife beater. Because he was. Why do you think his first wife divorced him? Where was I? The propagandist. Master of Spin, the propagandist has the power to see through. This is Goebbels.
Yeah, this is Hassan.
Yeah.
That was right.
They can turn lies into
There's
truth.
yeah. Then the soldier. Scarred by her experience in the armed forces, the soldier has the deadly skill and tactical ability to take the fight to those who put a gun to her head.
So what this guy is thinking, because he's using the female gender term for this, is in movies how they have a 100-pound girl just like take a 280-pound dude down with kung fu, and they don't clarify that she has superpowers. That's probably what was in his head. Now here's the thing, though. If you give that woman a gun, it's much more believable. After all, some of the deadliest snipers that the Soviet Union had were women, and they were also some of their best pilots because they knew how to basically use the shittiest of planes to maximize the damage they could do. The Night Witches were damn good at what they could do with their planes.
But then we have the student. Fueled by idealism, the student knows everything a book can teach and absolutely nothing about how to put it into practice.
So is this the writer? Is this the writer's self-insert right there?
This is the leftist realize. Yeah, they've got idealism, but they're not going to do shit.
I don't even think they have idealism. I think it's just they want to be part of the social club. This is basically Tammany 2.0 again. By the way, so how familiar are you with the corruption of Tammany Hall in New York?
It was in my AP class in U.S. history.
So what do you know about it, just in terms of the basics? Because I know a little bit more than some do.
I mean, I remember the whole thing of basically when immigrants were coming in, he would give them, like food or money to help set up, and then a promise that they would vote for him.
Correct. So here's how Tammany Hall worked. It was originally a social club that was very popular in New York, and in particular, it became very popular among Irish voters, among the Irish in particular. Eventually, the Irish got their hands on the politics, and it became what the leader of the Tammany Hall was actually called the Grand Sachem, an old Indian chief term, the old chief. And
Huh.
the way Tammany Hall worked was it fulfilled the interests of the Democratic Party, the party of the immigrant at the time, because they hired on a lot of Catholics during that time period. And it also served as the interest for the Irishman. If you're actually curious, there's a reason why a common stereotype early on in New York is that a lot of them were Irish. So if you ever run into a Deputy O'Callahan in New York, that's why. They had their fingers on the NYPD. And here's another interesting thing about New York. Its take on segregation was actually just more due to how immigration waves worked. I'm not even kidding. Do you want to know what what the two biggest racial clashes were in New York?
The
Irish. I believe it was Irish, and then I'm assuming Italian.
No, that actually they got along fairly well. The Irish actually had a problem with the black community that tried to move in. The Italians loathed the Jews because they served the same job function over decades, to the point where it was considered a miracle that the United Syndicate of Crime even founded itself among the five families in the Jewish mob,
Hey,
because they had bad blood for like 3 generations by that point.
who else but the Jews?
Because the Jews had their pulse on the trade unions, the Italians had their hand in both the mob and a lot of the construction firms. They got along like oil and water. And the Irish and the black people basically hated each other because they had the same low-lying jobs. And it got worse when the Irishmen managed to pull themselves up first and became the cops and basically ran Tammany. How bad was Tammany Hall? Well, at its peak, you had Boss Tweed, who was so corrupt that it actually became a national scandal. And then you also had the very interesting take of Bo James, or Jimmy Walker, who so here's the interesting fact about him. He was a dude that was pretty darn critical in getting FDR elected, but FDR hated him because he was a Tammany man. He also was one of the most corrupt mayor. He was actually like the most corrupt mayor New York ever had, because he worked with anyone. He basically was a corrupt fish, which led to him actually running away to Europe to avoid being arrested with a cabaret girl. Because the thing
And
was, the
hey,
dude hated prohibition, so he basically what he did was he hid his drinking and whoring in public while pretending to be a good Irishman.
I mean, hey, at least we in Illinois, we know our governors are going to jail.
Uh,
Only a
sh-
matter of time.
I mean, Chicago wasn't any much better because you had the Thompson machine at the time before Dally got his hands on it.
Daily.
Daly,
Get that man's name correct.
Daly got his hands on it because there was Thompson then Daly. A lot of the cities during the 1920s had what's called machine politics, where basically political organizations were run like the mob.
Wait, had? They still do.
They still do, but it's a lot less. It's a lot less obvious nowadays. In
But
that you couldn't
back,
hire
yeah,
specific leg breakers anymore.
yeah. But our final group, though, are the said lead breakers, the workers of the revolution. They bring the technical skills, the blue collar cred, and will be entirely ignored when the revolution is completed.
Ignored. Don't you mean hated because the current modern left fucking despises the working man?
Yeah, because they vote for the other guy.
You know, if you actually had someone smart running the castle right now, you could have actually probably reforged this New Deal coalition. You have a chance. It's not going to happen, but you have a chance. Also, Zen Gunman highlights how much of a piece of shit Mahatma Gandhi was. Oh yeah, he hated black people so badly that he constantly would use the Indian version of the hard R-N word on them. Like, he fucking detested them the 1 year he spent in South Africa, to the point where he hated
But
him till the day he died.
but now we get the moves. The artist moves.
Well, but also the artist, whether actor, dancer, poet, sculptor, or painter, the artist is the bloody tip of the avant-garde. Basically, these are the worthless people. Well, not necessarily, because keep in mind there were some interesting architects during the Soviet Union's early days.
Don't forget the futurists.
Oh yeah,
Lenny Riefenstahl.
I actually love Italian futurism as like an art style, and I'm kind of sad it got tarred and feathered by being tied to the fascists, which is funny because do you want to know the funniest things about the futurists? They shielded Mussolini, but Mussolini had nothing but contempt for them. He didn't like them at all. He thought they were a bunch of idiots.
Probably were.
Oh god, yeah, they were.
I do like some of the moves. Like one of your French girls.
When you lean on your artistic sensibility while attempting to seduce, charm, or sway, carry one forward.
But then we have the brute.
Well, I mean, at least she has a bat.
Yeah. Big, dumb, and mean. Trained fighter. Brawl.
So what
And
you're
then we
saying is
have...
this guy's a sexist because he called her dumb.
Is that Mike fucking Pondsmith?
It might be.
Wow, what a racist. You think all black people look alike.
It has his same hairdo.
Did he just take a copy? Did he take a picture of Mike Pondsmith, run it through a photo filter, and put it into this book?
Do you get this reference here, though? St. Crispin's Day?
Oh, that's a Shakespeare quote. That's from Henry V.
Huh?
It's the rallying cry. It's a rallying cry for, I believe it was the War of the Roses. Basically, it was a key battle in the play Henry V that culminates in victory. And so it is on St. Crispin's Day.
But then for the Mystic, we have the gay MC.
Wait, no, I know who this guy is. That's Nathan Masry. That's the guy who made Garfield Eats. I don't know why they gave him a beard, but he's like, love me, feed me, don't leave me. He's also the hit writer of Arabiolosis.
Yeah, wait, no, Radical Faith. You are a founder of your own religion. Oh, fuck, no, this is Jim Jones.
This is Jim Jones, Robespierre, Himmler, and the Thule Society. It's all of your greatest hits. This is the guy you want to run if you want to play Ayatollah Khomeini.
I mean, one of the moves should be revolutionary suicide.
You got Last Rites, Flagellant.
Pain
brings you closer to God.
Which, by the way, fun fact, that was what he told the crowd when they were ingesting the, was it the Rite Aid or... No, ingesting the Flavor Aid. I want to get that right. It's not Kool-Aid.
You know, the best part is the Radical Faith. When you take a moment to meditate on a question related to this tenet, your deity will provide you an answer. You literally have voices in your head. The voices in my head tell me to do this.
And then we have the patron.
Revolting. I love it.
The patron can be burdened with upper-class guilt or blissfully unaware that she doesn't fit in.
I think she's just suffering from the fact she knows she got a shitty haircut.
Well, no, I do like the last move. Upper-class twit. You have no idea what's going on, but it doesn't bother you at all.
Red sheet, the bankroll, code switcher, I believe in you.
I actually do like, I don't know if that's a term, but red sheep, that's a good term for this.
Well, yeah, because black sheep. Black sheep in the family.
Then we have the professional. MacGyver.
This is the guy who leaves his comrades to die. This is your Che Guevara leaving thousands of people to get shot by the colonial police. So, adios! Bodies start dropping.
Velho, Italian futurism is like the 30s equivalent of Roman history architecture, which you need to clarify when you need to say you like it, that you aren't one of those Twitter users who actually want to bring back slavery.
Correct. I don't particularly want that. I actually like the painting style where it has this abstract feel of motion and frenetic energy. Like, I love, there's some really great pieces that I love where it's like this frenetic energy where they drive forward. I love that sort of thing. It's the same thing of early experimental Soviet architecture where they kind of play around with a bunch of different styles that I think are pretty neat. It's similar to how there's a lot of architectural styles that I think work, and then there's ones that don't. Brutalism as a whole usually doesn't work unless you try to play around with what it looks like. Same with blobism.
Then we have the propagandist.
Why did they make him a neutered black man once more?
QEP neutered.
Yeah, this is another neutered black man because he is wearing the tie. He is wearing the don't worry, I am wearing glasses, so I am not going to kill you.
Let me talk to you about Yakub. You see, my brothers and sisters, after you partake in this moon pie, I will tell you the truth about how uh, about how the white people were created by the devil Yakub.
The big lie. House Organ, what are you afraid of? The troublemaker, bully. Then you got the soldier, who they're kind of trying to go with. They're trying to go with the standard
Mhm.
stereotypical Russian female sniper garb. But did they hire? Look at those senpaku eyes.
I don't. Yeah.
Is this Ted Bundy in drag? Is this Ted Bundy in drag?
I don't know, and I don't want to.
Is
Oh,
that
but
Buffalo Bill? That's a
look at the
soldier.
student. It feels like some guy from the '60s.
Oh yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy that Harvey Milk molested.
Oh, you're right.
Because he had a bunch
Uh,
of younger guys around his domicile. Oh, here's a fun fact about Harvey Milk. The only reason he even became relevant was he was able to get his district gerrymander to intentionally win after he used mob-like tactics, by the way, to suppress, to fuck over people who refused to vote for him the first couple times. Dude was
the
a
also
fucking thug.
the San Francisco Democrats apparently did use Jim Jones
Oh yeah, he
and his
actually was good
congregation.
buddies with Jim Jones. That's why he got killed, by the way, because he knew where some of Jim Jones's bodies were buried.
No, I don't think that. No, the guy who killed him, I thought was angry that he was misplaced, like didn't get a job.
No, because the mayor of San Francisco, because Mayor of San Francisco and Harvey Milk were both killed by members of the People's Temple.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Or am I confused? No, it's the senator who was.
You're thinking of the senator? Yeah, no, he wasn't.
It's weird because it happened at about the same time.
Yes, it did.
That's why I
It
got
was
confused.
Leo
It's
Ryan was in Jonestown. See, this guy.
metric
What was it?
steel. Scam the revolution so you can have your own harem. Yeah, I mean, as the mystic, you could totally do that. What's one of the tenets? I want to see what one of the tenets are for the mystic again. I just want to make the shit post. All right.
Curiosity was
Yeah, no, it was no,
restraining from
the guy who shot him was Dan White because um
Yeah,
he was
you could
angry
do it as beauty. No,
that
you
his
could do it as
job.
beauty.
No, he shot the mayor because his job with the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, which was $9,600. The salary is the equivalent to $46,000 in 2024. That was not enough to support his family. I mean, you know shit in San Francisco, but did you have to kill the guy to? You thought killing the guy would get it?
I don't
Oh
understand
yeah,
that
no.
kind of shit.
Here's
Yeah.
why. He was angry. He was angry that um his news or the whole news about this was taken off the front page because of what was going on in the People's Temple.
Oh, that's even funnier. That's actually funnier.
Is Dan White still alive? Oh no, he died in '85.
Oh, here's another fun Harvey Milk quote from Zen Gunman. He outed a Vietnam vet who prevented an assassination attempt on a politician. When the guy got ostracized by his family for being gay, he ended it. Which is true.
What an
All of them were also close buddies with Jim Jones and only started to go away from him when some of the more unscrupulous details about his cult came out. What I'm trying to say is that San
politics.
Francisco is city politics. Basically, you're if you're a politician in a city, you're to quote a certain rage pig, you're the dirtiest ape in the zoo.
and
Like
I
you're
need
gonna
that
be
money.
shoveling
I
shit if
really,
you're a
really
city
do.
alderman.
Also, I need to see what the worker. Why is the worker Bernie Burns from Rooster Teeth?
I have no fucking clue, but you're right. I also like how he's squinting in suspicion at every other fucking person in this list. Like, you really are gonna pretend that you fucking care about my thoughts?
Yeah, you don't do a hard day's work going in the mines for 300 bloody hours a day.
Oh man. Don't get me wrong. Workers were the core of labor issues, and basically for a while they actually drove the left. Then the fucking champagne socialists got their hands on the fucking movement.
But then then we go on to what the GM is supposed to do.
I like how the GM
Which
looks like a homeless person.
Yeah, wait, I do like one of
No,
the things.
that's Dave Chappelle as a crackhead, but with a scarf. That's the crackhead
I mean,
character Dave
that's
Chappelle
correct.
played. You motherfucker.
Wait, Zen, apologizing for being so yappy, but my history degree is ripping its way out of me like a baby xenomorph right now.
Oh, I have a lot of contempt for people who try to glorify
That's
the violent psychopathy that are these movements. Like, yeah, do some of them bring benefits? I mean, think about it like this. Without the French Revolution, you don't get a lot of the modern concepts of reforming society. However, you
It's
also don't have the nationalism that fucking defined the 20th century. The American Revolution, which was built on the bodies of people that wanted you to pay your taxes, you wouldn't have an effective democracy as an example. Uh,
it's just that they're LARPing as past revolutions and past revolutionary ideologies when those movements have come and gone.
Without the
The
Mexican
Soviet
Revolution, you wouldn't have had the attempt to actually make a country that was functional. Admittedly, Porfirio Diaz ran the country pretty well for the rich, but the poor were fucking horribly treated. So you can argue that it was a success, even though it cost decades of blood and kind of made a non-functional country, but it also made a kind of functional country. Like, here's the thing: sometimes revolutions are needed because watering the tree of liberty with blood of your tyrants. Get what I mean? However, sometimes you gotta try reform first.
and
Revolution is what
LARP
you do when reform fails.
and LARPing as we need to do this to stop at the rich, man. Free society, man. It's just you
And
aren't
that would be
actually
cool,
thinking.
but the person saying this probably is worth at least $5 million and should be the first to be ripped apart screaming.
Or the great like Great Beals line where how was it? If you're carrying pictures of around of Chairman Mao, you ain't gonna make it with anyone anyhow.
So
Fucking
this is
beautiful
just how EM play
condemnation
works.
from that, yeah, from that guy who had the most unfortunate marriage decision.
So here is the GM's manifesto. So if you find this, you'll know what happened to your GM from the news,
Play to find out what happens. Oppress the comrades.
and make them heroes.
Take every opportunity to hurt them in ways they never thought possible.
So
This is a bit challenging Gary Gynax here.
no, it's not channeling Gary Gygax. See, there's a subclass. So remember, this is the game system that was founded by a dude who enjoyed BDSM and was at Ron Edwards' Sorcerer, the Forge, and was a very big fan of Sorcerer the RPG book. In particular, he almost certainly read the tantric sex sequel to that book. This is a dude who bragged about, hey, think about all the hot chicks you could fuck before immediately pivoting, going, no, 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 I'm not a pervy horn dog. No, no, don't destroy me in the revolution of purity. Ah! So, there's a subclass of people who play RPGs that, for whatever reason, get their rocks off by being treated like shit. It's a weird form of masochism. I never personally got it, but that's where the oppress angle came from, because it basically allows them to play their little victimhood narrative.
Yeah.
Make the pain real.
In real.
Wait, so am I supposed to actually okay, so we're playing a game of crime. Am I supposed to just at any point have a
Bring
Tokarev
out
to just shoot you with?
yes. You
Do,
need to
do,
make it real.
I just pull out a truncheon going, yeah, you gotta pay us money. The mob sends its regard, breaks your kneecaps.
just
You'll
repeatedly scream, "Fuck the pain away, fuck the pain away."
Never resist an opportunity to remind them that these comrades are human and they break easily. Also, do not go above and also go above and beyond and explain how the Okrana tortures its victims. Vividly describe as they use bamboo shoots to shove down your fingernails.
ugh. Let the world crumble.
Let the world crumble. Hell yeah.
Disease spreads. Politicians are assassinated. Food goes scarce. The people grow desperate.
Also, show consequences. Rare is the bomb that only kills the target. Rare is the victim that did not have a family. Make the NPC's pain real. Basically, what this guy wants is to masturbate over misery porn. This is a dude who can't
This is
actually
really
write a
like
story.
LARPing over a revolution. It's not right unless you actually show all the people that you have to round up and shoot and put into the piles.
Congratulations! You killed the corrupt bishop of the city of Angra Nostra. The church burns, and you hear the screams of dozens of children because you forgot about the orphanage attached to it.
You didn't forget, no. You have to wipe out the next generation.
The mystic's like, nah, we're sacrificing them to the blood god Corn. Skulls for the skull
Th-
throne.
this might be off topic as fuck, but what was Rasputin's views on communism back in the day?
uh, Rasputin didn't care.
He was
He was just there for the free sex.
He was there.
yes.
He was there to goon. That was his entire purpose. He was
He
there to
just
goon.
wanted the sex.
He was there to goon, do drugs, and see God.
And then he died.
So
Metric Steel is already trying to play the Merchant of Death who gives weapons to both sides.
I feel like we've kind of run into the problem we do with a lot of these Power by the Apocalypse books, where it's just like, this is it. It's just like different variations of how it works.
well, there actually is one thing that they have, which is their own setting.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. Most
Okay.
Powered by the Apocalypse games, the reason that they repeat themselves or bloat like this is mostly just that they can ask for a higher price on the PDF. Because it's short. Like, you can make this book probably in 70 pages.
So, page 118 has us talking about Preshit.
What?
Yes,
no.
the city of
Before we do, there is the chapter of introducing the game in the late 80s where it says teaching the game. You have to teach them the proper revolutionary praxis. The composition of the cell, the ideology. You basically are going to use this to indoctrinate your players to perform stochastic terrorism.
Yeah, and actually here at 115 gives us a great look at what they want. After a session, exhale. Thank your players and congratulate them on the good work at the table in the game. Remind them to record what happened during the session in the History of Revolutionary Activities section on the back of the playbook. Clean up, and when you have a moment to yourself, write a few words about the session. When it's time to go, update your list, tweak your fronts, and get ready for more.
Basically, this guy has such low contempt for Game Master that they assume that you're not even going to write down basic notes or memorize what happened. Also, they believe in X cards, which that became very popular. I'm not surprised that it's in this because the X card, if you're wondering, is the equivalent of a safe word in BDSM. Because for whatever reason, RPG books are tied to bondage an awful lot nowadays and how it handles problems.
I mean, did anyone ever make a gore RPG?
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, it is tied with bondage.
Choosing a setting. Some possible settings include, oh god, Port-au-Prince, 1791.
Yay! Let's kill all the white people except for the Polish.
That is, I'm gonna be blunt. That is fantastic. That automatically takes this up a little bit just because of the Mexico City 1914. Are you really gonna try to forget about Carranza's? Oh, you fucker! You little fucker! You're forgetting about the actual start of the Mexican Revolution. You little fucking coward!
Arise, ye Cristianos, and kill those Asian dog fuckers.
I hate that because what this piece of shit is doing is he's elevating Zapata and Pancho Villa over Carranza. So many fucking people do that. It is annoying. Because ignore that all three of them were responsible for overthrowing the successor to Porfirio Diaz. Ignore that these were the people that. Oh my god, I'm angry.
Adam, do not underestimate the fucking ball sucking Zapata's getting in this day and age, man. Because holy fuck, if you're brown like socialism, you're gonna suck the balls of the Zapatistas all day, every day.
I mean, there's also Petrograd 1917. They don't specify which of the two revolutions that happened that year. They don't clarify.
What were the other ones?
Well, there was the February/March Revolution, and then there was the
No, no, no.
October.
I meant the other settings that they provide. Was it?
Algiers,
Did I say?
Havana, Paris in 68. Oakland in 1968. You literally start a mass riot. Just Martin Luther King's dead. Just riot. Just kill everyone. Kill Whitey. Just
Was it
kill him.
Cairo 2011?
Arab Spring. That's a nod to Arab Spring.
About what about that is real October.
Yeah,
October 2020.
yeah, why don't they have like the terror the organization of terror that happened in the Mandate of Palestine committed by the Jews and Arabs?
Actually, that would be funny if they dropped like 1946 Palestine. It could apply to both.
Yeah, I mean, come on, don't you want to play a member of the Haganah and commit
Yeah.
massive amounts of crimes against the local population?
Let's poison some wells.
Do you think Bleeding Kansas is too much on the nose?
That would actually also be really cool.
Bleeding Kansas. Berlin 1989. What revolution happened there?
The tear down of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, the teardown of the There was no revolution though.
Same with Paris in 1968 and Oakland as well.
Yeah.
Let me think of what some other interesting ones you can kind of play around with that this guy is forgetting about. Paris in 1871 with the Commune of Paris, which is actually the inspiration for the thumbnail for this video. I think that's a good choice. The 1905 Revolution is a great choice. The Easter Uprising is a great choice. Also, if you really want to see a very effective leader of a revolution, look up Michael Collins. That dude is fucking a master at the craft. Where's the Chartist rebellions? Yeah, like where's the Chartist revolts of the United Kingdom? Hey, wait, where's the Carlist wars?
Well, there's Dublin 1916.
Well, where's the Carlist wars of the 1830s and 1840s?
This was after it too, but we could also do Jan 6.
That's not a revolution though.
Let's see. You could
I mean, unless you want to do it from like, what would have been November 6th or whatever the election was. And it's just basically just you rolling. How can we, watching footage on forums or on social media, and then getting really psyched and hyped up.
Okay, here's my other question. Why is Wuhan 1911 not in here? Because that's where the Xinhai Revolution took place, which is the founding principles of both Taiwan and the People's Republic of China.
I mean, they do. There's plenty to list.
I know. I'm taking the piss. I'm taking the piss. So you got to create the comrades, dream of a better world. So we're going with the idea of, the better world is to, let's just say that the bundle of sticks was right. That's the better world because they don't clarify. You can make it whatever thing you want.
Yeah. Berlin, 1933. Italy, what would have been 1921?
Yeah, the March on Rome. Also, Verhoteste, actually, I agree with you. Why did they not have Spain at the beginning of the Spanish Civil War? Or even in 37, like you stated. That's a good choice. Because that 37 is the year that the communists aligned with Stalin started knifing the anarchists and the communists that were more Trotsky, like the POUM.
Now that
you got to create the party. Although later on they may end up on the opposite sides of the revolution. At least at the start of play, it's important for the commerce to all belong to the same party. What are you fucking talking about? One of the most famous Soviet commanders, Leon Trotsky, was not even a fucking member of the Bolsheviks when he first signed up. He was a mensch. He was a Menshevik.
I wouldn't call him a mensch then. It's a bit of a different term.
You know what I mean. I was just playing around.
I know, but I realized.
I did that on purpose. Like
Mashugana.
I mean, there's also
not ideological.
A lot of parties also form from fusion tickets, like a lot of revolutionary movements. Like you could even do it where I think it's more interesting if you turn it into a rough code. Sigmata handled this better.
Oh.
At least in this
How bad do you have to be that we're praising Sigmata?
Well, remember, Sigmata has like their party, their revolutionary into factions, remember?
Oh yeah, they had factions.
I think that makes more sense than what he's doing.
I'd also like to give a shout out to oh fuck, I just lost my
Bombs and
I just lost
Balaclavas,
my
which was what what's his name? The guy who wrote Sigmata wrote afterwards.
Oh, this is a bit off a bit off the track too when it comes to revolutions and shit. But I don't know. What about when the Greeks overthrew Ottoman rule?
Oh yeah, the Greek Revolution of 1822 to 1831. That's a good one.
There's
That's
a
a
lot you
fucking
could
good
do with
one.
this.
And don't forget about the Carbonari revolts in Italy, which was the birth pangs of Risorgimento. Dude, there are so many cool revolutionary. So here's the thing. This book I kind of have some issues with, but if you just want to play like an interesting, we're gonna fight to the fucking nines and see if we ride or die, I don't hate this book. It's a bit
Adam, I
smarmy.
think
Its smug aura mocks us, but I'm kind of
It's
liking what you can do with it.
Adam, what happened to your rule where you said just play basic D&D?
Correct. You could play any other system that would do this better. Like,
Prize
come on.
you don't have a problem with its existence, given the fact that it's the gay bondage clown game.
Correct. So here's my problem with it. Basically, you could do this with any other system. This is really mostly a neat idea to get your head into the framework to do something like this. You don't need this piece of shit book, you know?
yeah.
Learn GURPS.
So
That's my advice
here's
to
some
you,
things. You need to
dear
come up with a
listener.
party name, the party ideology. It could be the real life strain of revolutionary theology. So so what we're going to do is hear me out, hear me out. We need to make a civic form of fascism for this party.
Civic fa-
Basically, we're going to splice a civic religion where it is the worship of the nation over all creeds, and that nation can be done in the French style, where as long as you speak the language and speak the language and support the state, you are of that citizenry.
We're
so a
libertarian
so
fascists.
so wait, no. So this is multi-ethnic Bioshock Infinite.
You could do this. As for the party name, I don't give a shit. It has to be something martial or poetic or cryptic. So, uh, I don't know what to fucking call it.
The
Les
Divine
mouvements.
Patriots.
Les mouvements. Movement.
No, I got it. Divine patriotism.
Divine patriotism. The
The United
purpose.
the United States is truly a gift from God. We hold his we are his chosen people.
Oh, I
All
know
of
what we could
us,
do.
those who consider themselves American, are all the chosen people, and we, by our democratic values, must demonstrate ourselves as a shining city on the hill.
Oh yeah, we could do movie Bobism, where people who disagree with us are Heartlanders and should be fucking destroyed for the moon wheat crops.
Purged. For the superior future.
So what's our goal? What's our goal of this weird idea?
It's all libertarian fascism.
Yeah, sure, why not? The leader. This is just the place to write the name of the comrade or NPCs who calls the shots. Leave this blank if your party has no patience for leaders. Translation. Basically, this is supposed to be the person that orders them around, perhaps. Some crappy slogan for blah blah. I just think it's kind of. I'm just kind of going over this. God bless the USA, nowhere else. Yeah, Magic Steel. Now we can move on. Let's move on to the setting because there's not really much we can do in this area. Oh, fill
So
in the
this,
world. No.
yeah,
Okay, here we go. We got what are some other ideas for this?
opposing factions, conservative political parties, government groups, the police, the army, the clergy, rivals among the left, my ex-wife, the neighborhood watch.
You know what I kind of find interesting is that he says that even though in a lot of revolutions, the clergy plays a pretty important role in them
They're
because
tools
it's
of
a
the
core of
state.
educated people.
The Sisters of the Blood, a ruthless anti-abortion group that worships corn. They're they do a series of deadly attacks on women's health clinics in which they carry out in nun habits with body armor underneath. Their goal: kill every doctor in town willing to perform abortions.
I mean, this guy is claiming that this is based on the problems we have in modern days, but the destruction of Planned Parenthood, that's that's even more dated. Planned Parenthood attacks are much more old. Like we're talking 2000s.
I thought it was
Get with the times, old man.
even before them. But the idea of a bunch of women and
2090s and
nuns,
shit, yeah.
it just a bunch of women and nuns have just throwing like TNT to an abortion clinic. They'll end up killing a kid inside a pregnant woman, but it's
Yeah, who cares?
worthy sacrifice.
Some of you will die, but that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
I like how the Neighborhood Watch is a fascist group where they wear black windbreakers and hate anyone who looks like they're from another part of the town. It's basically a HOA security force on meth. In fairness, the HOAs must be destroyed.
They're the real fascists.
Yeah, they're disgusting.
And then they give us
Basic world
obviously
building options because
locations, trouble.
They
names
give
of
the types
people.
of the fronts. So there's a political faction, government, gang, environment. Oh my lord.
Pestilence. War could be a pestilence.
Oh, there is pestilence. Where are you at this point? Because this is like what the fuck.
No,
ever.
it's just saying that like influenza could be a pestilence, and then war could be a pestilence, or I guess pollution or something like that.
Yeah,
Or
fair
environment.
enough. That's kind of weird. But
I like this idea.
right.
I guess they're trying to go with like the Russian thing of like the war.
Well, I mean, the French Revolution happened because of because of several bad harvests. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Same with the 1848 revolution, actually, if you're curious. The Springtime of Nations, aka the Springtime of Europe, that mostly happened because of a couple of really shitty fucking crop cycles.
I don't know how far you're reading, but like the idea too for like these different tracks for like you got hunger, you got the secret police, and just kind of showing what happens if you don't take care of these different groups. I find it very interesting.
There's actually a progression to it, and
I like
a
it.
sense of urgency.
Oh god, the influenza ones. I have to cover this like bit by bit because this is written in 2019. It gets really funny. A new strain of influenza appears at the docks, killing several longshoremen, sailors, and homeless people. The city launches a campaign advocating for flu shots, but when the shots prove helpless against the disease, an anti-vax conspiracy theory takes root among the wealthy. Even though most of the people who believe in this shit are poor, dude.
Well, no. This is 2019. The anti-vax shit at that point was on the left, and among and I would argue among like the rich Californians.
They were calling it, dude. I remember, dude.
No. Like redneck trash also believed it because this shit spread a lot online too.
It
and
did,
any
but
idiot
like
with a fucking
this,
Facebook post
but the
could do it.
pre-COVID.
Dude, it was so fucking weird too. I remember, like COVID was like first a thing. Like, Trump was like he was so proud of it too. It's like I got this vaccine coming out super fast. How cool I'm a president, man. And like get everybody on the left saying I'm not going to take Trump's vaccine. Then Biden's in, and other people are saying I don't want to take Biden's vaccine. It's fucking madness, man.
It's brain
politics.
damage. It's brain damage. We are apes. We are apes and deserve to be treated like apes.
The illness touches every corner of the city.
The anti-vaxxers attack a medical facility left, destroying the supplies.
You think at this point, because of the fact that the influenza is spreading and they're more active, that they would just die naturally.
I mean, this is the thing. So, Zen Gunman, you're bringing up that measles was a phenomenon of the ultra wealthy. The reason I know that the poor also kind of dealt with this is, hey, guess what? Poor motherfucker had to deal with mumps 3 times in a row because of the anti-vax movement as a kid. I caught mumps 3 fucking times.
Well, better that than autism.
That's probably why I got the autism.
But I was about to say, Amp. You know why they survived for so long? Herd immunity.
I mean, you're not wrong. Also, they're wealthy enough to afford treatments because measles is one of the worst diseases. Just as a quick note, never get measles. It will destroy your immune system for like the next 5 years.
But what about AIDS?
But my kid could have autism and not be able to engage in social situations.
I mean, you're already
That's
ruining
worse
them.
than dying.
You're already ruining them by putting them into a weird little circle bubbles that they're gonna basically have it anyway. So just maybe you don't want to have a gold-plated casket for little Timmy at the age of 7.
But so their setting, it's basically just Russia.
Also, yeah, if you're wondering, it wasn't because of my folks, because I got vaxxed, as you can tell from my horrible brain condition. But because some other assholes didn't get vaccinated, it sucked. Mumps sucks. Do you like high fever and agony as your salivary glands swell, putting pressure on your teeth and jaw muscles, as well as the nerves? No? Then get your mumps vaccine for your kids. Holy shit. So welcome to the city of Crash!
On the river, Crash. In the Empire, Crash.
Sorry,
After
I
300
was trying to
years
do
of
an shit post.
of the Makarov dynasty, the army has been broken, the economy is in shambles, and political parties, secret societies, and revolutionary cells spring up.
Oh my fucking god. You didn't even try.
They're also being invaded by the Germans.
You didn't even try.
Didn't fucking try. The Turquoise Palace, the Samonk's secret police.
So, yeah.
What I do like here is the ideologies.
You're in St. Petersburg. This is the St. Petersburg Soviet all over again.
Yeah.
This sucks.
You have the left with anarchism, anarcho-syndicalism, illegalism, which argues since all property is theft, there is no such thing as crime.
So illegalism it is descended from egoism and other forms of individual anarchist strains from Stirner. And the concept is basically, yeah, you can do all the crimes because social constructs, all laws are social constructs, and all of those are spooks, right? Like, it's all the great game that we as apes play. We as the monkey play these social games. So why should we not play those social games?
Then obliterism, maintained as relentless, numbing intoxication, kept up as long as the money holds out.
That's a crappy ideology, and you know it.
So wait, if egoism says that, then does that mean I can enslave people? Then in that case, who's going to stop me? The law?
Technically, you're infringing the rights of the other person, but honestly, if they can't stop you, they don't deserve them.
My ego says, you know what?
It depends.
But I want to rape. I want to be a rape slaver.
It depends on the interpretations, but this actually does remind me of, I think it was either Stirner or some other anarchist who basically said, I have the right to squat on your property, especially if you prove unable to dislodge me from it. Because I, through my own force of my will, am able to inflict my reality upon your system.
But then we have
no, there's a lot of ideologies. The obliterism one sucks. Pacifism, inspired by American Quakers, their pacifism was briefly popular in the run-up to the war, but faded from national stage after. So they don't even understand. They don't even understand. This guy doesn't even understand the point of the religious pacifism. The Quaker pacifism comes from specifically Christian doctrines because at its core, early Christianity was supposed to be pacifistic in nature. Like, they believe that all have the light of God, right? Like, even those who don't listen to him still have the light of God within them. God gave you the freedom of choice because of your decision, because of the decision of Adam. Yes? To eat the fruit, you have the freedom to listen to whatever light you wish, but you still have the light, right?
Don't forget the rib of man.
So basically, it was considered a sin to kill other people for a while. Nowadays, Quakers are actually more okay with the concept of personal defense. The sort of pacifism where if they're going to stomp on your neck, you can choose to wield the sword to defend yourself, because keeping your light going is fair. I'm sorry, I just wanted to point out that, like, pure pacifism, these ideologies sucks. I don't think this guy actually knows much about how to construct these.
Yeah. Armchair Marxism.
Well, before that, there's Image 89, which is just the Society of Artists.
Kendrinism, which is a stage icon that believes in from a stage icon believing in the overthrow of the government, public execution of all politicians, and the installation of a single-party state overseen by Starla Kedron.
I kind of like the first two steps.
Utopian socialism. Armchair Marxism.
So here's
Dero-
another fun fact about utopian socialism. This is an earlier form of socialism. Like he's kind of fucking this up because he doesn't really want to get stuck in the weeds. But I think if you're going to do a world setting and you're going to have ideologies like this, you have to explain it. Utopian socialism. Have you ever heard of the Oneida community? And have you ever heard of those projects where they build those towns that are supposed to be like one big social experiment where they test their
yes.
politics? A lot of
Like
utopians
Epcot.
tried this. The mall as a concept was supposed to be a socialist experiment. Because the original point of those large mall complexes where they were supposed to have residential districts for the store workers, it was essentially supposed to be a big public project system that had stores as well as the residentials. Then corporations took the idea, cut out the residential sections, and turned them into big, massive corporate department stores.
Vallejo's here is pointing out about the squatter cocaine from Tucker, better known for going off the deep end later in life and saying it was okay for a mother to throw her baby in the fire because it was her personal property.
Yeah, Tucker was kind of a nutter.
But let's see, armchair Marxism. Those who prefer to contemplate theory by doing the hard, often violent, work necessary to effect real change.
That's not really
Uh,
a leftist ideology. That's just like this kind of sucks.
Blood socialism, a socialist movement founded by disaffected veterans of the disastrous Freshti Russian War.
What?
So you're doing Russia, but you're also having you're
What?
doing like a Marvel or a DC Comics thing where you just have a fake country in Eastern Europe.
What?
But but besides the fact that we're dealing with unspecified Stan,
This is
uh,
this is interesting because this is more like a Freikorp than it is an
yeah,
ideology.
blood socialism believes basically the Vanguard Party should be uh, led by soldiers.
It's essentially a form of. This is interesting because this is the kind of principle that Robert A. Heinlein had for Starship Troopers. That's where you don't get citizenship without service comes from.
Heinlein Vanguardism.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I can see
Yeah.
where this comes from. It also
So
Are
reminds
they
me of the
implying
German
this?
Freikorp movements that formed during the collapse of the Weimar Republic.
Are they implying that in that case the Germans are the bugs?
sure,
Probably.
the Fedotov School, led by the septuagenarian Kreshti scholar Vera Fedotov, is scientific socialism proposes a revolution, a new form of government determined entirely by the laws of probability.
Okay. That's really stupid.
Government decided by coinflip. Well, it worked out for us.
Oh yeah, technically we chose to do this book because someone chose violence right as the polls closed and made it a tie.
But then the center is democratic socialism.
Democratic
So,
socialism is the center. I mean, in Europe, sure,
social,
fair
yeah,
enough.
social democracy, liberalism, nationalism, constitutionalism, constitutional royalism.
So one of the
Basically,
funniest things about
the
the center is that what they don't clarify is so social democracy is even more for slower reform paces. Democratic socialism in general is more prone to willingly overthrow if the reform doesn't work.
yep. But then
Also,
the
people
right.
forget that there are such things as radical liberals. They they were quite prevalent during the 19th
Yeah.
century.
But then royalism. Once the dominant philosophy of Kresh, the theory that God placed the Makarovs on the throne now finds support only among the most naive gentry and royals too inbred to know better.
No. Is he not aware that? Okay, so here's a weird little factoid. Siberia was the nucleus of the white movement because a lot of the serfs fucking loved the Tsar because they were not serfs anymore. They were given free movement by the Tsar. So they fought as hard as they fucking could because this is the people. These people are blessed by God and gave them freedom.
Ah,
That's why you have a bunch of weird cults dedicated to Nicholas II in that area.
Still today?
Yeah, you can still find personal private cults that seek to beatify him as an Eastern Orthodox saint.
Well, let's see. Corporatism,
Does he
the
even
Friends
know
of
what corporatism
Nevsky.
is supposed to be? Because no. So corporatism,
This
okay.
is this isn't corporatism.
Well, here's the weird thing. There's a couple of ways you can play corporatism. He's going for corporatocracy, where it's run by big business. Corporatism actually comes from a religious movement. It's more of a Catholic doctrine, though, but you could definitely do something in the Orthodox Church, where it's supposed to basically have the people in society move as one body.
Oh, kind of like a unification
It's
of a
supposed to be a
natural
theological, yeah.
interest with the workers, almost like a social workers party.
Well, there's a reason corporatism very much became aligned with fascist movements, in particular in France and Italy, as well as Spain,
Let's see.
because it was more of
Friends
a
of
Catholic doctrine.
yeah. Let's see. Friends of Nevsky, calling for a coup by a military general.
Okay,
Uh, the nativism, which is racism, just the party of racism.
that's stupid, but
Yay.
okay.
Agrarianism, return to farmer.
That's not what
What about
agrarianism is, you bumble fuck.
Starting
what
by
about
burning the capital to the ground.
No, that's not what agrarianism, you piece of shit.
what
Okay,
about
so
racist
I'm
agrarianism?
actually pissed off. So agrarianism has nothing to do with that. Agrarianism is like, it's not purely right wing. You could have left wing agrarians, because the entire point of this is it is for the farmers' protection. You are protecting farmlands, the farmers, the peasants. For fuck's sake, Mao could be argued to be an agrarian, because his entire thing was the peasants have the right to voice their dissent.
I could tell this guy's not a fan of Thomas Jefferson.
Jesus fucking Christ. No, like, here's the thing. Agrarianism is more commonly considered a bit right wing, because farmers as a whole tend to be more conservative, because as long as the crops grow well and they have a little bit of a boon, they don't like to be touched, you know? As long as their
Yeah.
rights are fine, their lands are fine, they're fine. Uh, they might want some tools, they might want some protections from getting their lands bought out. They're a lot more moderate. I would not put them on the right. I would probably put them in the center, because you can have left agrarians. You could definitely have left agrarians. Do you want to know a really fun fact? A lot of communists in India were agrarian socialists,
Well,
because they
I would
wanted to
just point out.
reform the rights of like all of the people that were hired into plantations and shit.
I mean, I would just point out that in the United States, there's a reason why in Minnesota it's not called the Democratic Party; it's the Democratic was it
Farm labor.
Farm Labor Party.
Because the Farm Labor Party was extremely popular. Essentially, it was one of the few agrarian parties and progressive parties, because they were progressive before they became democratic, that kept its power. Jesus Christ, that actually pissed me off.
But then we have egoism.
Oh boy.
As defined by the university professor Semenov Nekrasov, egoism proposes that it is impossible to be certain that other people are actually real.
That's
Nothing
solipsism.
matters but the pursuit of one's own desire. It
That's
is a selfish,
Discordianism.
rancid idea. This is just the philosophy of one Sith Lord from Star Wars, who literally thought he was the only thing in the universe that actually existed.
This is just a blending of solipsism, which is the philosophical doctrine that you're the only
Darth
thing that
Ruin.
exists in this cosmos, nihilism, because nothing matters, and Discordianism, or LaVeyan Satanism. That's not egoism. The entire point of egoism is it is an extreme form of individualist anarchy, because there's different strains of anarchy. The ones that became more popular in America were individual style, because we like to be left the fuck alone. And that idea is social constructs are a spook, a ghost of the mind. The rules established by society are just the ones that we collectively put our wills on, and we can change them how we wish. And it is a selfish ideology. Like, Stirner was definitely a very selfish motherfucker. But one of his weird ideas is he actually believed that because self-interest is a very strong driving force of men, there's self-interest in working together to get at least some of what you want, rather than all of nothing. He actually had this concept of the council of egoism. I'm not even kidding. This is dumb.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about here, because I agree with that. Because again, I am the only thing that actually exists in this conversation here, so I know that this was the only thing that exists.
Yeah, I'm a spook of your mind.
So the final one is ultranationalism, which is somehow different from nativism.
This is just him being too pussy to say that this is the Nazi equivalent. By the way, where's the crazy religious cultism? Where's like the weird radical Orthodox or Catholic equivalent?
I believe that's supposed to be the royalism, but even
No.
then, yeah, you're missing out on the return to our interpretation of religious doctrine.
Yeah, like where's your equivalent of Ayatollah Khomeini? Where's your weird millenarian movement?
Like what Vallejo's saying, could have hurt to have called it instead of agrarianism, Luddism.
Yeah, because the Luddism in general, it's not necessarily that you hate technology. You hate the concept that technology will replace men. Which, interestingly enough, we're starting to see a return of it because of the corporations' usage of AI to replace people. And then watching as their companies eat shit and no one wants to use them. Because learning language models, while useful for a lot of things, they are very useful for robocalling, serving as operators to connect you to people that actually have technical experience. And in a pinch, it can help you do some art commissions that you then hand off to someone else to clean up. Like, you can do a lot of stopgappage with AI, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have the executive function that a person has yet still. They're hoping they can replace us with AI, but we'll see. I will say the people that are most likely to be replaced with AI are things like journo scum, writers for crappy entertainment. Because why bother? You can just copy from generations of people that actually knew what the fuck they were doing when writing either way.
Yeah. But those are unfortunately ideologies not as fun as they should be.
That's actually really annoying and lame. Like, where's your crazy Christian ideology? Let me think. What are some other interesting left ideas that people forget about? Where's your shitpost of the Dark Enlightenment? Where's your Nick Land shitpost?
Where's the well, I mean, technically in this case there is the monarchy, but what we find out the pro-monarchist is like, yeah, monarchism completely works.
Where's your weird oligarchy? I mean, Friends of Nevsky, sure, but like, where's your weird plutocracy where they believe in a weighted wealth system?
And at the left, where's your
Where,
although again, this is 1900, 1915, but like get the weird sex cult shit.
yeah, where's that? I
Admittedly,
know
I don't know how much.
Kedronism is supposed to be a nod slightly to Leninism, but like they don't really do anything with these. These
I don't
suck.
think that's Kendrick. I don't even know if that's Leninism. I think Kendrickism is just
It's actually more
party.
populist than anything else.
You know what I realized? Throw a reference to We, to the first dystopian novel, or one of the first.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one. Where's a populist equivalent? Where's your like Huey Long stand-in? Where's your Huey Long stand-in? And another one, what that could be interesting. Where's your equivalent to the criminals, to your criminal gangs, like your equivalent to the mafia? Where's your Cosa Nostra? Where's your Five Families? Where's your Chicago outfit? Where's your Scarface equivalent? The man who fucking ran Chicago from behind Thompson's desk. The guy who had to be ripped apart by tax evasion because they couldn't get him on anything else.
I will agree. Vallejo should have had more syncretic, schizo and syncretic
You're right.
ideologies.
Where's the Mladrozy movement?
But again,
If
this
you're wondering,
person
the
makes.
Mladrozy movement
Yeah.
is really funny. I'm just one last comment
Yeah.
on this. The Mladrozy was monarcho-communists, basically Tsar and Soviet.
This person is not trying to make a simulator of um, all the aspects of
Well, it
revolutions.
doesn't need to be schizoid, but like
Yeah.
the ones that he personally invented kind of suck. It
You need to
doesn't
have more.
feel right.
I think you're saying he's not having fun with this. He's trying to be very serious in some way, a little bit cheeky in some points, but like at the end of the day, he is seriously going, this is a stress reliever for the would-be revolutionary.
This is the best he can come up with on the fly.
And that's dumb when Hoi 4 exists.
This is the best he could cook, like, while being dead serious, really? God damn. Don't quit your day job, I'm sorry. So, what are
They
the
can put
fronts
Biggie
that
to
we have to
sleep.
deal with?
Some of the fronts are the racists,
Yeah, the
famine,
Sons
the
of Kresh,
army,
which are blue-shirted.
yep, the secret police.
Yeah, the Okrana equivalent, the army, which is interesting because a major reason that the Reds actually won were they actually hired on a lot of former army guys to retrain. Tukhachevsky actually started as a white originally.
And I
Pestilence,
do,
fair enough.
yeah, I do want to end though, page
The Germans
155.
themselves.
Yeah, which he ends the game by saying, Comrades is about giving ourselves permission to set pragmatism aside and imagine a better world. It is about refusing the status quo and fighting for something better. Do it with the game, do it with the real world too.
Where are you at on this?
155.
You're skipping in the New York one too, and Callisto, which is a
I'm just skipping
sci-fi
the whole.
future. There's a
Yeah,
sci-fi setting. They just kind of threw it in at the
bleh.
last minute. Make it yours. Writing moves, creating playbooks, tear it down. There we go.
Yeah. Do it with the real world too, which dismisses the entire thing at the beginning where actually that this is supposed to be a stress reliever. No, you're actually advocating to do this shit in real life. When we know when this shit happened in real life, it mostly fucking failed.
I love the part where he basically proves he's a chicken shit that wants other people to do it for him. See, no, please don't throw me in prison. I didn't do any of it. I didn't incite anyone to do this. This isn't stochastic terrorism. He's basically pulling a little Weasley Hassan. What a Weasley little liar, dude.
And I think that this ends with a final thanks to the late Greg Stafford, creator of Pendragon, who showed us that games might ask players to be moral.
Eat shit and die.
As much as you're right to praise Greg Stafford, you're asking players to be moral and then asking them to play as these revolutionaries without really any compunction on, yeah, they might be evil,
Like,
might
go
be dumb.
fuck yourself. And on top of that, for all that Pendragon's neat and all, really? Really? You're gonna say Pendragon and not RuneQuest? Call of Cthulhu?
Well, if you're asking for players to be moral,
Do you want to know what the
I mean,
opening
I mean,
example of Pendragon
then again,
was?
I'm sorry, D&D has a fucking morality system.
Do you want to know what the opening example of play of Pendragon is? It
What?
opens with you being given the chance of taking bandits back to the king to to experience trial and judgment, and the king chastises you as he just kills them with no trial. Because you should have just killed the bandits on the spot since they broke the king's peace. I guess you know what he wants to do, why he likes Pendragon then.
Yep.
Bloodshed. Also, here's some further readings you can do. Oh, he actually does reference the Wobblies. It only took you at the ass end of the book. I cannot recommend these books strongly enough. First book, Apocalypse World.
Y-
Fucking burn.
You just say, I recommend Powered by the Apocalypse. You're not going to bring up Revolution. You're not going to bring up fucking Eclipse Phase,
This is some
which could actually
high
show you
phase shilling.
a post-revolutionary era.
Well, you don't understand. This is part of the Powered by the Apocalypse grift, which you're kind of now seeing with Morkborg. Basically, the entire hope is that what happens are these publishers kind of collude together in little greasy fucking groups to try to buy each other's books to elevate themselves up. Because at this level of RPG, like the indie RPG scene, you can move the needle if you just sell like 50 books. It's pretty ridiculous. So yeah, that's Comrades for you. It ends with the modern audience armed with some ridiculous examples of firearms as drawn by Mike Pondsmith.
I don't think the one on the left even has a barrel.
It doesn't. And yeah, that was one of the decisions of all time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fucking LARP fest. It's just LARPing.
I can't really rate this higher than playable.
It is playable, but there's so many other games that if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of running a revolutionary movement, you definitely could try anything else.
The only thing of value in this is it can maybe help a game master try to figure out how to run a revolution style game. But you could just, if you're inspired to do that, you could do that in any other system. I tried to give praise to this, but like in retrospect, like what the fuck was I thinking? No. By Powered by the Apocalypse standards, I'd actually rate it as a pretty decent system, like, you know, decent to good. It's smooth, it's relatively clean. It has clear progression lines, it has certain abilities, it allows you to improve and progress. It uses a ticking clock system relatively okay. Like it's fine by a Powered by the Apocalypse system. I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with picking this as a game to play, like for a short campaign if you want to throw something in between. But I can't really rate it higher than playable. Its
As
one
much as
setting is
saying
a crappy copy.
these revolutionary fantasy writers need to take a page from the game The Price of Freedom and take the piss out of the concept and have fun with the idea.
True. You can
But they're not.
advocate for your crap. You can
They're
advocate
trying
for
to
your
be
crap.
they're trying to be serious with this. And I think it's a political game where the politics are there first and the gameplay is second. This is the difference between something like
How is this any different from Varg Vikernes' My Farag?
it's like my Farah. Well, I'm thinking video game wise. It's like comparing Disco Elysium to I don't know, like the Dragon Age. What was the last Dragon Age fucking thing?
Veilguard? That
Failguard,
abomination?
where the politics and the message is first rather than actually the gameplay.
I was going to
Disco
use the
Elysium,
Saints Row reboot where they complain about
yeah,
student loans.
the story, the gameplay is first, and the politics are not even a second; it's a third.
This book was so great that Biggs fell asleep, so I think he's rating it as trash. He's out like a light.
He's out. We're gonna be out soon,
Go
I
to
guess.
sleep, little comrade, and kill enemies of the state. Go to
So what? So I guess with that, for those celebrating the American Thanksgiving, hope you have a happy Thanksgiving this week. And what do we have for next week?
So next week, I ran two polls, one for YouTube and one for our Discord, which is in the description. By the way, if you do think this book is worth picking up, you can also get it in the description. I linked to it via RPG drive-through. Next week is going to be John Carter. I know we usually do the loser, which would have been NWO, but John Carter won with a very convincing, essentially 47%. That's very convincing. So John Carter next, because that allows me to go full Edgar Rice Burroughsburg. And don't worry, after that will be the New World Order convention book. So for those of you who are looking forward to do not adjust your set, do not adjust your dial, we will look at that within 2 cycles.
On the timetable.
It is on the timetable, it is on the plan, and we need to reactivate Biggs. So we will leave you for now.
Good night, all.
Good night, everyone.